Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Float, Odyssey, Telegram, Twitch, and the Prepper Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim, and today is October 20th, October 22nd, 2022, and this is episode 190 of the Workshop Podcast. Well, how is everyone? It's Halloween season. We are back to do episode number 2, part number 2 of our horror movie list. Real quick, we're going to get the announcements out of the way, and then I'll bring on my beautiful Mrs. Toolman. First off, patch of the month. Going to put these up here so you guys can see. This one right here was first patch of the month. Been prepping since Y2K. This one right there, built like a brick shithouse, was the one that just recently went out. So if you are interested in supporting the workshop, that is the quickest, easiest way to get value for value exchange. $10 a month, $100 a year. You'll get a patch every single month. Plus, I almost always throw some goodies in, and you get added to a super secret exclusive email list where you get first access to anything else that I release. Number 2, if you are looking for a new podcast platform or just one, you want to try something new, something a little more open, a way to kind of interact better, Fountain.fm is the way to go. They have an app on both Apple and Android. Definitely an interesting place. You can send little boostergrams where you can actually respond to any portion of the podcast. So take a minute, sign up for there, guys. And finally, if you've been hanging around for a while, kind of in the weeds and hanging out and chatting in the YouTube comments and whatnot, but you haven't joined the Telegram group, one question for you. How come? You really should. The Telegram group is awesome. It's the best place where we sit around and we chat, we share our information, we help people, they help us, and it's the place where we come together as a community. So if you're saying, Tim, I don't need another social media app, well, I get it. But man, I got to tell you, Telegram is the spot to drop by and hang out with the workshop community. Just love it. And finally, today's tool. I was scrolling through Amazon earlier today, and I saw the Jackery 300, the power station. Some people call them solar generators. Their regular price is $2.99 on Amazon, and there was a $30 off coupon. So that link will be in the description today if you are looking for some sort of power backup system. So with that, I would like to bring on my beautiful Mrs. Cook. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good.
Good. What have you been up to today?
Just housework.
Hanging around,
chilling with the dogs.
sitting out back and
under the propane heaters.
Yes, hanging out with your sexy husband, watching him dig trenches and lay gas lines, that kind of stuff.
Ruined my new sod.
Mm-hmm. But I put it back down. It's like carpet. You pull it up, roll it back down, and it's all set. So
yeah.
But and our dogs have been idiots tonight, which is great. So if you hear them, we
apologize ahead of time.
Yeah, whatever. They are what they are. So if anybody is in the group and can check out Telegram signal just to let me know, that would be great. I've been fooling around with TikTok earlier today. I got the desktop kind of interface working. It was pretty cool. Oh, I see Brian over on Telegram. Let's bring that up a little closer here, guys. Hang on one second. There we are. And burning dead dinosaur farts. Excellent. Very, very good. Dixon Way. Sounds like you need some snow. Want a bit? No, not a bit. We're good. Letty Lou. Howdy. No Halloween films yet, but I did binge Dahmer in the past few days. Excellent. Once we finish, maybe we'll have a little in the workshop Telegram group discussion. So one more quick question for you guys. If I look at Becky on your screen, does it look like I'm looking at Becky? If somebody can let me know. Because we have been testing out the video cameras, moving the feeds back and forth. And I know last week it got kind of distracting because I'd look at her, but it would actually be like I was looking out that way. So if anybody's out there and can fill me in on that, it'd be great. Oh, perfect. Excellent. We got it figured out. Okay. High five. All right, cool. So we are going to start with your number 10, right? He said you look natural. Good. Thanks, Brian. All right, so we're going to work our way through. Oh, yes. Okay.
Well, I just had an extra surprise today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It's going to be an honorary mention of an actual horror that's going on right now.
What do you got there?
Can we see that?
Yeah, slow. We'll see if we can get it here. I'll bring it over here for you. Let's see if we can get it. Is that romaine lettuce? And that's a bag, $9.29. Was that at our local?
That's at our local. That's for 3 hearts of romaine lettuce. So that is like a real life horror.
Yes, it
movie in itself, right there.
That is insane. $9.29 in the People's Republic of Canada dollars. So that is a horror. Jesus, what are we gonna do? Well, throw our own lettuce again, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so number 10 was the Freddy series.
The Freddy series. Now that's a cop-out. You went with a whole damn series.
I did go with it, but I'm gonna exclude. I believe it's
the remake.
No, not the remakes. I'm referring to the 80s
series. Yep.
But I'm going to exclude the second one.
Okay.
I believe it's the second one where Freddy's actually like not even in it. And remember, he like possesses was that the second one?
I think it's kind of like the Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch for Halloween,
yes.
Right? Yeah, so that one is not included in this one. But out of all of them, besides the first one, because of its originality, my favorite one is number 5, Dream Child. That one's my favorite.
Is that? No, that's not the one where where all the teens are in the psych ward together.
I watched that one last night.
That's Dream Warriors, isn't it?
Dream Warriors or Dream Masters. Yeah, I watched that one last night. Actually, it's on Crave.
Yes, and not a bad one, is it?
It's all right. It's well, I think it was one of Patricia Arquette's first movies, and she's a little over the top. Like I think she's trying. I think she was trying to be a scream queen at that point, but it just didn't happen for her. But no, but the first Freddy is really good, and the effects on it are cheesy, but again, it's original, and I always had a soft spot for the Dream Child one.
Yes.
And I think it's because it's I don't know, when it came out, my age and everything, it was just a soft spot for it, that one.
So we're going to keep talking about Freddy, but Brian Young is over on Telegram, and he just said that his mother was watching The Watcher while they were on vacation.
I want to watch that, but I can't watch it without you because you'll get mad. So it's supposed to be actually really, really good. And Dahmer is incredible so far.
It's The Watcher is it a miniseries or is it a movie?
It's a miniseries, but it's based on a true story.
Yeah, I remember reading about that on Reddit a few times over the years. I read it on Reddit, But so back to Freddy.
Yes.
Why do you like Freddy so much? Because when we met, I think he's your favorite. He's
my favorite. Honestly, I think it's because he talks.
Yes.
Right. So
it's good attitude.
And I think it was one of the first movies that I could watch where where he swore. So of course, like when you're younger, it's like, oh, he said that, right? But and he's funny.
Oh yeah.
I love Robert Englund. He's awesome. But
hey, Ted McDonald.
But like you can like the Jason and the Michael Myers, but they don't talk.
Yeah, they have no they're just
no personality.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Myers is literally referred to as the Shape,
Exactly. Yeah. But like Freddy, he always has like the corny comebacks, and he's always got the corny references, and
they get worse as the seasons
go. They get worse, but I don't know. I just always laugh when he gets talking. I think he's hilarious.
What did you ever think of? So for those of you out there, if you haven't seen it, the remake that came out about 10 years ago. It was a different guy playing Freddy.
It was he was from Watchmen, right?
Yes, that's right.
I didn't like that one.
So what did you think of them changing his backstory to include?
That's why I didn't like it, because okay,
sure, he was a child murderer.
He's a child murderer, but he was not a molester.
Right.
But it doesn't make it any better.
No.
But the original story of Freddy is that he would kidnap children and he would murder them. He would not.
Sounds like a decent.
He never worked at a daycare, and he never molested children. And and then a bunch of the parents of the murdered children got together and they burnt him alive.
They threw him in a furnace, didn't they? Or did they?
No. He got out on parole, and he was hiding out in some sort of shed or something. And they tracked him down and they burnt him alive. And then he made a deal with the devil and these demonic spirits to live forever so he could come back and I believe that's in, I can't remember which one that's in, but he's supposed to be the child of a nun and he's supposed to be the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs, everything like that. Like, there's all kinds of backstories, but I don't like how they added that whole new to make him to try to create a story that wasn't originally there.
They tried to put their own twist, which never goes better than the original.
And it doesn't make it any better of the situation, but don't try to make something out of that's not there. And the guy who played Freddy, like, I don't mind him as an actor, but he wasn't very good.
No, well, how do you ever live up to Robert Englund, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he still goes once in a while, guys. If you, not that most of us probably have time to go to Comic-Cons, but on occasion he will still do an appearance at a Comic-Con in full makeup that you can have your picture taken with, which would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be.
But he must be getting close to 80, wouldn't he?
I would.
In his 70s, for sure.
He is. Yeah, he's getting up there. But like he's just so funny. Like, I don't know. But like when I was watching there last night, like when he picks the girl up, welcome to prime time, bitch, and he throws her through a TV. Right?
Oh, like, I know, that's so cheesy.
But you don't get anything like that out of Michael Myers or Jason or anything. So I don't know. I've always liked Freddy.
Just going to shout out to James Richter. Good to have you. Ted McDonald, Chris Dixon, Martinson family. Anybody at Letty Lou is here. Good to have you all. And we got Brian Young over on Telegram. Good to have you. How many Freddy films are there? Well, there's 85. Thank you, Brian.
Oh, man, he's older than I thought.
Wow,
yeah.
He looks good for
his
age.
He does look good, yeah. No, he's a lot older than I thought. Yeah.
Well, let's do it. Let's see if we can get it right. So how many? 74. Okay.
74. Okay.
Oh, there we go. It was edited. that made 75. Okay.
So he's so there's one. I don't count the second one, but it is a Freddy.
Sure.
So there's the original 5, and then there's the one where his daughter comes.
Yep.
Like his daughter's involved. And
The
New Nightmare, and then there's the new ones, and then there's the one
Freddy and Jason.
Yep.
So
I'm not sure exactly how many there are.
I'm not either. Let's see if we can bring it up on IMDb. There we are. So while we're talking about it, do you want to talk about Johnny Depp?
Oh yeah, the first Freddy was actually his first movie. Yeah, and his was the most iconic death scene when he gets sucked into the mattress and then all the blood goes up on the ceiling. Yeah, because he was the boyfriend.
Yeah, he was the one wearing the
headset.
Yeah.
And
I always get him mixed up with Kevin Bacon in one of the first Jason movies. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's he gets sucked down into the mattress and then all the blood goes up onto the ceiling. Yeah, there's quite a few.
Oh, and for the record, guys, there was also a short-lived TV series in 2005.
I never watched
that. I've heard things about it, not anything I was really interested in. And Will Smith also did a song called Nightmare on My Street.
Oh,
and
I've never heard that one.
It's a tie-in. I think it may have been a lost song for a while, but it was found again quite a while ago. Yes, Letty Lou. Kevin Bacon was in a Jason film. We'll bring it up here for you.
I think the first one, right?
I want to say, or
was it the
second one or third? I can't remember. Yeah, but
he gets killed in the bunk bed where it comes out through his throat. Yeah,
I think Tom Savini, did the effects for that, and they take an arrow and push it up through the back of the mattress underneath and out through the front of Kevin Bacon's head. Let's see if we can find it for you here, guys. Kevin Bacon, arrow impaled. All right, let's see if we can share the screen while we're at it. We'll go with that image.
There it is.
Yeah, there. Let's bring this one up. So let's share.
Was it the first Jason?
I'm not sure. Let's see. So there he is smoking a joint. This doesn't get us flagged, guys. I don't know what will. And there's Kevin Bacon, the after effects. And then somehow they made let's see if we can bring that up. So, oh boy. There we are. Anyway, yeah. So he was in one of the Friday the 13th. Not sure which one it was. See if we can bring it up for you. Friday the 13th. And yeah, it was his very first movie, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah. Always enjoyed that. It's a good film. Let's see. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was the first one.
Was it? All right. Well, let's see. Let's just do this. Kevin Bacon. Yep. Yeah. The very first one from 1980. So that's cool. And yeah, so it's good. It's worth watching. I love that old one. That one's really good. kind of enjoyable, isn't it? The first couple, they're really getting their feet under them and kind of getting going. But yeah, as far as Nightmare on Elm Street goes, I really enjoyed most of them. And I remember it wasn't that I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies. It's just that my mom didn't really appreciate horror movies. But my buddy Clyde used to bring them over all the time. And we'd try to watch them, when people weren't around, of course. But we watched one of the Nightmare on Elm Street films. And it seemed like, I remember just being uncomfortable and awkward because it seemed like all it was girls screaming and Freddy dropping F-bombs the whole movie.
Yeah.
It was fine. I enjoyed it.
His favorite word is bitch.
Right. Yes, it's true.
That's his favorite word.
Brian Young says it wasn't lost. Who doesn't remember Nightmare on My Street? So I got to look it up. There's something about it, whether it was a recording, I can't remember. Maybe it was the video. I know the video's out there too, but it's great. For those who don't really know Will Smith pre-Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, there's some gems out there. Let's just put it that way. So, all right. So your number 10 was Nightmare on Elm Street. My number 10 is also a Wes Craven film. This is the one we talked about last week a little bit, but it is People Under the Stairs. Now, I mentioned my buddy Clyde. He really introduced me to a ton of really good horror movies. He's the guy he recorded all 4 parts of the Stand miniseries and brought them over. I think we watched them on what were they? The T180 cassettes, so he could record, because it was 8-hour long miniseries. We sat down and watched it all. Really, really loved it. And he introduced me to People Under the Stairs. Now it's, yes, Letty Lou says, watch out for People Under the Stairs. It's a film that kind of slid under the radar a bit with Wes Craven, because when you think of Wes Craven, you think of Scream, you think of Friday the 13th. And what was the first one he did? Was it I Spit on Your Grave? It was one of those really raunchy, one of his original
Or was
ones.
it like House at the End of the
It might have been House at the End of the Street. Anyway, So People Under the Stairs was kind of in the middle. It was toward the end of Freddy's popularity when some of those movies were going down a little bit. But People Under the Stairs is, I don't know how to explain it, because it's kind of funny too, right?
It is. Well, it's like a cheesy horror.
Yeah, because the mother, I don't know if you'd call her the mother, but the woman of the house, because there's
very
some
eccentric
incest that goes on there.
Well, she kind of reminds me of the mother from that sleepaway camp.
Mm-hmm. Overacting,
heavy makeup, overdressed, just very weird and eccentric. Yeah.
So for those who haven't seen People Under the Stairs, I won't spoil it for you. It's really hard to spoil anyway. But the concept behind the film is a couple of guys decide they're going to break into a home, kind of a recluse home where people live that are supposedly really rich. They decide, hey, we are going to break in, steal their money, and we're going to leave. However, it doesn't go as you'd think. And there are literal people living under the stairs, in the walls, in the attic, all through the house. And it is super cheesy. It's got kind of that late 80s cheese to it. The people are kind of in bondage and stuff.
And the people under the stairs, weren't they they weren't children of the couple? Were they previous people that had broken in?
Yeah, people who had broken in before. They would definitely.
And I think the girl was kidnapped, right?
Yes, I think that was
something like
implied
that.
For sure. But it's I love it. I don't know why. It's probably because it was one of the first true horrors I'd ever seen. When I watched it, I didn't even know it was a Wes Craven film. But it's scary. It's violent. It's sick and twisted. It's got that late 80s, early 90s cheese to it. And if you are a Wes Craven fan and haven't seen it, I would say do yourself a favor and check it out. Now, Ted McDonald says, I never really got into the gory horror movies, but Alfred Hitchcock and Twilight Zone were more my style. Now, there is an Alfred Hitchcock film coming up on my list. There would be 2 or 3 if I didn't limit myself to just one. He's a master, and I love the Twilight Zone so much. We'll probably end up doing some of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes down the road. But yeah, totally feel you there, Ted. I mean, I love the gore too, but I like those. And one other, Dixon says, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Before people knew Will Smith was Will Smith. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever, I believe as well that Jazzy Jeff, the guy that played him, he had an injury or something which caused him to lose some memory. Did you ever hear about that?
No.
Yeah. So I believe whatever happened to him, he ended up, he can't remember a lot of his quote unquote glory years. Maybe it was drugs. I don't know. But
well, there's another one that's like that too. Is it Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
Oh, it could be.
Or Freddie Muniz or something. One of them.
Freddie, that's who it is. Yeah, from
like
Malcolm in the Middle.
A whole bunch of mini strokes or something. And yeah.
Ted McDonald, you are right. Great minds do think alike. All right, Mrs. Cook, how about number 9?
Number 9 is Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, which one?
The one
from 2004, right?
Yeah, the most recent one.
Yes.
With where they get locked in the mall.
So mine, I have that
Sarah Polley.
Yes, the Canadian girl.
Yeah.
And Ving Rhames, right?
Yes.
Yep. And I don't know who. Oh, a very early dad from
Oh, yes, yeah. I know what show you're thinking about.
Oh my God, Modern Family.
Modern Family,
yes,
yeah.
A big feeling, kind of, I don't know, a yuppie, right? Yep. He's a yuppie for sure. So this is on my list as well. Since we're going to talk about it, it is down on number 6. But go ahead.
No, with I found with it like, well, it's your typical zombie, except for these zombies move really, really fast.
Oh, yes.
Because beforehand, before this one, I think the only zombie movie that I actually appreciated was Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
And
the original,
the
black and white one. Yes.
And was there any? I don't think there was too many zombie movies in between there.
Just oh shoot,
like the Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, George Romero. He did all of the follow-ups, which some people love them. You know, Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, whatever.
Yeah, but I don't think I ever watched any of those.
No, but Dawn of the Dead is the Superman director, Zack Snyder. He directed it, and I believe it's written by Gunn, the one that just did Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad. He wrote it. But
but it's but when you watch Night of the Living Dead, the black and white one, it's like your typical what you think zombies are going to be, because they're just, like they're dead people that have just rose from the grave, and they move at a slow pace, but they don't get winded, and they don't stop because they just keep going. They're like machines, right?
Yes.
But Dawn of the Dead, when I first watched that movie, when you see the first zombie, and you're like, holy shit, why is this thing moving so quick? And they start running, and then they're like ripping people apart, and it's like, this is an incredible movie, and how quickly they change. And like with the Night of the Living Dead, I know it was with the bites and everything, but still it took a long time.
Oh, and they were slow and cumbersome.
But no, like even for them to change.
Oh, yeah.
But when they got bit on the other one, it was like the fever overtook them fairly quickly. It was a matter of like a day or two, and then that was it. And sometimes it was only a matter of hours, depending where they got bit.
Oh man, or minutes. Remember the little the husband, he turned almost
as soon as they die.
Yes.
Yeah. So it all depends on where they get bit or whatever. But it's just I don't know, it was really shot well.
Oh, the cinematography when they do that shot where it goes up and you see all the destruction in Milwaukee.
When they're in the buses.
Oh, yes.
And it's kind of like it's kind of like a flash shot.
Like
where everything gets quiet and you can hear them breathing, and it's like that choppy scene, and where it's like kind of like there's no sound.
Yes.
That kind of like that was shot because it makes your heart drop when you're watching these scenes, and I enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
So Zack Snyder directed it. It was, I want to say, maybe his first big film, because he went on to do what was the DC movie he did? Watchmen first.
Oh, Watchmen, yeah.
But it was right in that zombie renaissance. So you had 28 Days Later, you had Shaun of the Dead, and you had the Dawn of the Dead remake, all coming a few years before The Walking Dead came out.
Yeah.
So there's all that aughts, the 20 aughts, where all these
and that's the
films.
thing. Well, like in the 28 Days Later, they're fast moving.
Yes.
Dawn of the Dead, they're fast moving. World War Z, they're fast moving.
World War Z, yes.
And then you get to Walking Dead, and they're slow moving again.
I know.
It's like
the traditional thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I guess like everyone has their take on it, but I think Dawn of the Dead is probably the least realistic one out of it, because like Like, you don't think someone's going to get up and like move at a super fast pace. Like,
no, it's true.
Like Usain Bolt running after you. You know what I mean? So
it's so good.
Like,
it's so violent. It's it hasn't. It's still like we'll watch it anytime.
Oh yeah,
but there's parts of it that haven't aged super well. But the effects were good. I think they leaned heavily on practical effects because I know Zack Snyder was a big fan of practical effects when he could. Cinematography, he's great. He has a great eye for that.
But then if you watch the credits too, the ending is very The ending is very depressing.
There's a couple different endings actually.
I think, but the original ending when you're watching it, it's very depressing.
Oh, and the soundtrack.
Yes.
Remember Johnny Cash when the they play a montage of all this. You know, it's just stock footage they bought somewhere, but it all has this very grainy post-apocalyptic feel, and it's being backed up with Johnny Cash's "When the Man Comes Around." Is that it? Yeah. Oh, so good. I just think it is a masterclass on how to remake a movie, make it modern. But it's not my favorite zombie movie, but I bet you it's my second favorite. Not including Shaun of the Dead, because that's a comedy, of course. But
I like Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, I could watch Dawn of the Dead. Even the dude that has the gun store, and he's over there all by himself, standing on Andy on the gun store. He's over there and he's writing. They're playing chess back and forth, and he's writing all this stuff. And just if you've never watched the remake of Dawn of the Dead, it's totally worth it. A couple other comments I want to bring up. We got Mel says that she still, this is over on Telegram, still has issues with open stair treads because of people under the stairs. And Letty Lou, didn't have a chance to bring it up yet. Jordan Peele is linked to a remake of People Under the Stairs. I'm totally down for that. I'm not sure if it was Jordan Peele or if it was his comedy partner that redid the Candyman movie.
Yeah.
And it was great. Really good. Yeah. And so I'm excited.
Jordan Peele's hit and miss.
Yeah. We haven't seen his latest one.
Nope.
Nope, we haven't. But Get Out.
I really don't have a lot of interest in that one.
Loved Get Out.
Yeah.
Letty Lou says Shaun of the Dead is amazing. It is. I don't think either of us had it on this list.
No, I don't have it on
because we had it on our top zombie list, and it's totally a top comedy horror. It's a perfect film. I think Shaun of the Dead come along at the perfect time to tell a great story that is super hilarious. And the director, I cannot think of his name right now, but he did other movies like Baby Driver and the one we watched last summer, Night in Soho.
Night in Soho.
Yeah. So anyway, great director, loves music, does amazing things with sound. But Shaun of the Dead was lightning in a bottle. That was the next two, they're okay. I didn't really like Hot Fuzz.
No, I didn't like it.
World's End was okay, but Shaun of the Dead is just fucking incredible.
Well, they were trying to. They were trying to profit.
Sure.
While they could.
I get it.
Well, they were hot, right? So.
And Chicken Hawk, they're talking about Children of the Corn. Ted McDonald thinks Chicken Hawk's Children of the Corn guy, but he said Children of the Corn scared me to death. I grew up with huge cornfields around my house, bored on two sides.
Yeah, actually, my sister, we seen Children of the Corn, and she went to her friend's house, and they had a huge cornfield behind there.
Oh.
And I remember her calling and crying because she wanted to come home because it scared her.
Now, see, whenever I see cornfields, I think of Field of Dreams. So I don't know.
Well, I guess it all depends where your brain is.
That is true. Yeah, I'm a little bit twisted. Yeah, but not as bad. So am I next?
Yeah, number 9.
Okay, number 9. This is one of the PG-13 films on my list. I believe I have 2 of them this evening, which is kind of surprising. A Quiet Place. That is a friggin' classic.
I have A Quiet Place too.
What number's yours?
The first one.
The first. Oh no, but on your list.
Oh, number 5.
Number 5. Okay, so A Quiet Place. I remember seeing. That is one of the rare movies that I remember seeing the synopsis of it, the trailer for it, and I said, "That's right up our alley. We're gonna love it." And then we went and watched it in theaters, and it was as good or better than we thought it was going to be.
It was so good. Even the second one was good.
Yeah.
Like
it was.
Like I'm a huge fan of
Cillian Murphy.
No, not Cillian Murphy. Jim.
Oh, yeah. Jim from The Office.
Yeah. What's his real name?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't. John Krasinski.
He's Emily Blunt's husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm a big fan of him, and he's a really good actor, and obviously he's proven he's an incredible writer
and director.
Yep. And when he was in the second one, you kind of got a little bit excited. It's like, oh man, we're gonna get some more of his acting, and then all of a sudden, then because but they're only flashbacks. But no, like he wrote it.
Yeah,
like it's an incredible movie.
And it's freaking Jim from The Office.
Yeah, and they're making a third one too.
Oh yeah, they're making a bunch more from what I hear. I mean, this is the dude that used to put Dwight Stapler in a Jello cake, in a Jello mold, and like the guy that would just look at the camera with that goddamn smirk on his face all the time, and you're like, because he was funny, but who knew that he could do what he did in A Quiet Place? I mean, it was a masterclass of sound, direction, writing. The cinematography was beautiful, and it's a damn scary story, and it's proof. I believe it was Alfred Hitchcock that used to say that the monster you don't see is scarier than the monster you do, and that's a case with Quiet Place. And there's another movie on this list a little further down, also PG-13, where you almost don't see the monster until the end of the film, and I am personally a huge fan of that because in your mind's eye, you are able to conjure up things that are way more scary. The unknown to me is more scary than seeing a monster right at the beginning. And
and then of course in the beginning when the little boy dies, like
wow,
that, like I cried because like you could just see the look on his face when he was trying to get to him.
He did everything. I mean, he was ready, willing, and able to sacrifice himself to save his son.
Yeah, and then you've got the but then of course, and then like and they're kid actors again, but but they were really good.
Yes,
and I guess the girl in it she really actually is really deaf, and Emily Blunt she's a great actress. There hasn't been anything that she's in that I didn't like.
No, I think honestly, I think my favorite movie with her is Edge of Tomorrow.
She's favorite such a one is Devil Wears Prada. Yeah, I love her in that one.
But she's one of those actresses that looks different in everything she does too. It's so weird.
Well, she's aging too.
Yeah, so. That's fine.
No, but it's but she's really she was incredible in this, and like and then of course in the second one he had Cillian Murphy, which we haven't seen him in anything in a long time.
We're going to talk about a movie with him in it later on that I absolutely friggin' love. But that man, I think he is and you like him, don't you?
I like Cillian Murphy. Yeah,
I think he's an awesome and sometimes they pronounce his name different than that, but Killian or Killian. Yeah, we always called it Cillian.
I always call him Cillian, but he's Irish.
So
it's probably got a different.
And there's another. We should look that one up. I can't think of what it's called. Let's see if we can find it. Remember there was a post-apocalyptic movie with Cillian Murphy where him and the woman were on an island. Do you remember? And the end of the world happens, and then
yes, I know which one.
It was really good. Like one of the best. Letty Lou says, Killian. I figured Letty would know. She's Irish, Yeah. So, but we've mispronounced it for so many years that it's going to be really like I had Nat on last night. I've called him Nate for like 6 months online and in person. He was too damn nice to tell me otherwise. So,
well, it's like the other one too, the Irish girl. Is it Saoirse?
Saoirse
I don't Ronan or whatever. Yeah, it's another one.
I can't remember. Yeah. See if you can. I don't remember how far back was that. Probably 10, 12 years ago or something. But it was, so him and this woman are living, I think it's a lighthouse, isn't it? They're on a deserted island in Europe, of course, and they find out everything they know on basically through the radio, remember?
Yes.
Yeah, they start, I wish I could find that for you guys. I know it's got to be a little further along here. Sunshine, Angela of Dark Knight. No, it's not that. He was in Inception too. I forgot about that. Maybe it's this one. I don't know. Anyway, I will find it for you. This is definitely not it. So I think he's one of the best actors today. He's in that Peaky Blinders too, isn't he?
Yeah, I think they're actually. I think it's the last season for that one, or they got one more season. It was canceled, which I don't know why, because it was supposed to be it's supposed to be really good.
Mm-hmm. But so it was great, and so as far as A Quiet Place goes, it's one of those less is more films. I don't think there's any words spoken until well over a half hour into the film. You barely see the monsters almost all the way through. you get a quick glimpse when the little boy gets carried off and, of course, eaten or destroyed or whatever happens to the poor thing. And you really don't see the monsters in their full glory until the shotgun scene, I'm thinking, right?
I'm thinking
pretty damn close to the end.
Oh, and then, of course, when she's walking down the stairs and she steps on that nail.
Oh, my God.
And,
yeah.
And you're watching it and you just want to scream for her. And then she goes into labor.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, how do you, go into, like, she's trying not to scream. I was like, it was a pretty intense movie.
Yeah. And when you guys, thank you, Letty Lou. I'm glad. Thank you for finding it. Retreat from 2011. There we go. I knew it had to have been about 10, 12 years ago because we were still out east when we watched it. But it's great. Loved it. It's dark. And again, it fits one of my favorite kind of genres of film. It's small cast, confined space, very little action, and it builds tension like nobody's business. Definitely worth watching. Oh, hey, Haas, how are you? Salem's Lot. You like that one, don't you?
I do like Salem's Lot.
Yes. Yeah. I love the book. I really, I'm a sucker for Stephen King. I'm not sure. Let me see if I don't want to spoil it, of course, but I want to see if I have any other Stephen King. Nope. Oh, yes, I do. Coming right up. But Salem's Lot is great. But yes, so Quiet Place. Mel said she's scared of open frame stairs, the ones you can see through. Well, there was a set of those in A Quiet Place with a great big nail sticking out of it, which always makes me think about stepping on that nail. They build it up too, and it's coming.
Yeah, well, because I think, she's in labor and she's stepping on this nail, and I was like, oh my goodness, this poor woman, and then she's trying not to make any noise and trying not to scream, and she's in the bathtub, and then they start letting off the fireworks and everything.
Yeah, right.
Wow, yeah.
And she's there trying to have a baby, and she knows the shit's literally hitting the fan at the moment. Plus, she's got blood running down her foot because she stepped on a goddamn nail going down the stairs. Right. And she's got to keep her mouth shut. Can you imagine? You got a hole through your foot. You're giving birth to a baby. Your husband's probably dying or dead at the moment, and you need to sit there in the tub and be as super quiet as you can be.
Yeah.
It's a perfect movie.
It is. It's so good.
Like I said, it's one of the few that lived up to the hype 100% and continued, probably exceeded. Remember when we went and watched it in the theater?
Yeah.
And people didn't even want to talk. I remember there was somebody sitting behind us, and they finally, like half hour in or something, started eating popcorn, or somebody went for snacks, and everybody was just so quiet.
Well, and the girls tried to watch it too.
Scared the shit out of them.
Well, Charlotte noped out of there really quick when the raccoon got killed.
Yeah, that doesn't care about the baby boy, but when the raccoon gets eaten, heaven help her.
She was done. She's like,
the hell out of there.
It scared her half to death. She was like, no, I'm done.
So is it mine?
Number 8.
Number 8. Go ahead.
It's Jordan Peele, actually. Get Out.
Yeah, I know. That was just off my list.
Yeah.
Talk about that film, because I really do love that film.
Yeah, Get Out is really, really, it's twisted.
Yes.
And it has a lot of twisted, and actually, I think the father on there is one of the commanders from Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
And
you do love Handmaids. That's pretty much a horror. But
it is. Yeah, I love that. I love that show. But it's so twisted, and it has, and like when you're watching it, you're just like, you have no idea what's going on.
Right.
Right. And then all of a sudden, then it starts kind of laying it out for you, and it gives you an insight, and you're just like, and then you realize that the daughter's involved and everything, and you're just like, this is so weird. You just ruined the movie for everyone. I'm just kidding. It's okay. I'm just going to see if I can live stream us on TikTok while we're going here. But no, it is a very, very, it was one of Jordan Peele's first movies, right? It was his very first movie. Which to me, that the only other director I can remember in our lifetime who has came out swinging like that would be M. Night Shyamalan, I think. Yes. With The Sixth Sense. Yeah, but Get Out is it's really, it's one of those movies where it builds a lot of tension, and you're kind of watching it, but it's got like the comedy breaks in it too, of course, like your typical Jordan Peele. But it's like, it made number 8 on my list. It probably would have went a little bit higher if I didn't have other choices, but definitely. It's a creepy movie. Oh, it totally is. And I it's not just creepy, but it was well done, well written, absolutely twisted, psychological horror.
it's the type, I mean, he really did remind me of a modern Alfred Hitchcock, because he kept you on the edge of your seat. Alfred Hitchcock always talked about red herrings, which are basically a plot device that makes you not, it intentionally sends you down the wrong rabbit hole there.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peele was awesome in Get Out. And imagery and sound, like stirring the tea, for instance.
Yeah. And of course, and like you kind of, and it's not, once you get the plot of the story and you figure it out, that like you can figure it out fairly quickly.
Absolutely.
But it still doesn't lessen the movie any.
No.
Because you still want to see what happens.
Because you can watch it all that. I think, how many times have we watched that?
I've seen it a couple times.
Yeah. And it's great. I cannot get our front camera to show up here, and I don't know what's going on. I was going to get us on TikTok too, but we'll come back to it after. But yeah, it's great. The problem is the next one wasn't that good. It was okay.
Which one was
his second movie he did, where the girl
Us.
It was okay.
It was okay. It was still kind of like a mind twister.
It was.
But
it was weird.
It was very weird, but it wasn't very good.
No, it was just kind of, I don't know how you want to put it. Just, it was so. I think it was a bit of a letdown. Yeah. I think a lot of people felt the same way, because they were, with M. Night Shyamalan, for instance, Sixth Sense, again, was lightning in a bottle. It was a perfect film. And then he came out with a comic book origin story, like Unbreakable. Great film, but nobody knew what to think of it. And that may be the case with Us.
But then he came out with Lady in the Water.
Oh.
And you're just like, what is he doing?
Yeah, what are you doing, man? Like, it just didn't make any sense at all.
No.
But before that, of course, well, we have another film that we're going to talk about here in a little bit by him. That's one of my favorites for sure. But yeah, so those of you who are sharing right now, we are also live on TikTok. So if we get any questions come up, we're going to try it just for the hell of it. Maybe we got too many things on the go at once. Ted McDonald says Soylent Green is people. You're right. And that's not quite as bad as, say, spoiling the ending of a Fight Club, right?
Yeah.
That would really get you bad. And Ted McDonald said Soylent Green is the Green New Deal. You are the carbon they want to get rid of. Yes, just ask John Willis. He'll tell you all about that.
Yeah.
All right. So my next one was a Stephen King film. Speaking of Stephen King, anybody want to take a guess before I jump in and tell you what it is? But this is, so we already had The Shining. I enjoy this film better than The Shining. I'll give you some hints, see if you guys can catch it. But it is probably one of the darkest endings to a film you're ever going to see. The ending was changed from the actual ending in the book to be even darker, and it has a lot of Walking Dead alumni in the film.
Yes, it does.
It takes place almost entirely in a grocery store, which is rather interesting. Oh, see, Letty Lou says Secret Window. Barrett Bishop says, hey there, look guys, I don't know if I've seen Barrett in our live streams. This is my probably my best friend, really, but he's my brother-in-law, Barrett Bishop. So married to my wife's sister. Good to have you. Cujo, nope, you're close.
Close.
A little bit newer. They actually re-released it in theaters a few years ago with a black and white version for only a few days. Frank Darabont is the director. And any more guesses? It has, who's it have in it?
Well,
it's got Dale from The Walking Dead.
And Andrea.
And Andrea from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And the main guy, the main actor. Letty Lou got it.
There you go.
The Mist. Okay. So guys, if you've never watched The Mist, just be prepared, because the ending is like a punch to the gut and a punch to the nuts at the same time. Yep. It is dark and twisted. And after that, there's like one final twist where they add salt to the wound. It is just horrible, but it's so damn good. And it doesn't even matter that the effects don't even look good if you're comparing them to like 1980s movies. The effects are so, but it doesn't matter, because grocery store gave it away. I'm glad. Yeah, it was a great film. Huge religious. Barrett Bishop, he said the ending made him sick. Absolutely it did. That ending, and I've read the short story, but it's not the same as that. But I think the ending is actually in the book a little bit more upbeat. But Stephen King said he wished he'd wrote that ending because that is as dark and fucking twisted as you're ever going to find. And so I'm going to, if you guys have watched this before, what do we got? We got Shia over on TikTok. Just wants to say hi to her friend. Nice. Good to have you. We got 9 people in already. Good to have you over there. So the ending, if you've seen it, you know, I don't want to give it away, but if you haven't seen it, he's 1 bullet short. And the reason he's 1 bullet short is because he gets pissed off in the grocery store. And after they kill the crazy religious lady, the grocery guy puts 1 extra bullet in her for good measure. And because of that, he is 1 bullet short at the end of the movie. And I'd watched that 15 times before I noticed that. And it just scared me to, it breaks your heart. Going to shout out to Jay over on TikTok. Nice to have you guys. Good little crowd we got coming in here. So The Mist is awesome. Everything, again, it has a bigger cast than a lot of films, but the enclosed nature, when you have all that mist and fog coming in, and of course it has all the hallmarks of a Stephen King. It deals with insects and monsters and portals going into a different world.
It has Carol too.
Carol, yes. She's
not in it for very long.
No, not at all. What do you think? You like that?
No, I did like The Mist. The ending was twisted, of course, but I find what bothered me the most about it is when they're in the grocery store, how quickly people can jump ship and join into like a religious type of following. Like how quickly they can turn when they're faced with that type of situation. And I think that bothered me more than anything, because in reality that does happen.
It does, yes. And it's fucking crazy.
There's no way to get around it. And like, because like soon as she starts preaching about the end of days and the Bible and like this is what God like how many people just flipped their switch.
Oh yeah, and joined them, and she just kept bringing them into her fold. She kept
bringing them in, and then like even to the point where it's like a cult mentality when they get together, and she convinces them to kill people.
Yeah,
and everything. And I was like, that right there scares me more than the monsters and everything, because you're not even safe when you get those type of people.
Absolutely, yes, and the movie happens fast and slow, if that makes any sense, because you think you're like, okay, how does that happen? How do people join in with some crazy fucking religious lady that fast? But their entire world's been twisted up on the top of their head. They don't know what's going on. They're completely lost. Their entire mindset of life has been thrown away. And they join this crazy.
Well, and they don't even join her. She just starts preaching. And she, like, because they were all they were all working together. They were all trying to survive. And then all of a sudden she just starts this crazy talk. And then all of a sudden they just all flip.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and all these people, like, and it's a small town, and all these people are not strangers.
Right.
They all know each other because they're all referring to each other as their names.
Well, of course, again, Stephen King, small town, everybody. There's something creepy about small towns.
It is, but it's even creepier that they can turn on each other, because most of these people have probably known each other their entire lives.
Absolutely.
And all because she's just preaching away. They're like, oh, well, hey, guess what? Now we're all like, it's the end of the world. Everything's going to hell in the handbasket. And no, she's making sense, but she's not making sense. She's just trying to mind control them.
Absolutely. And when she gets shot, I just want to jump up.
I was so happy when they shot her. It's like, shut her up. This woman is out of her mind.
Oh, right? She's fucking crazy. I loved it. Yeah. We got, Alex, whoever Alex says, bro, you're looking handsome this evening. So thank you very much. We've had 270 likes over on the live stream from TikTok. So thanks, guys. Beard looks great on you. I appreciate that as well. Mrs. Said that I could grow a beard again, didn't you?
I did. Yes. As long as it doesn't look like a mountain man, then we're fine.
So poor Letty Lou. Apparently, was it cornfields that scared Letty too?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have cornfields that scare people, grocery stores that scare people, foggy days that scare people, and open staircases that scare people.
And what Ted said there about Storm of the Century.
Yes.
I will agree, Ted. That was one of my favorite short stories on TV.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching that, and when that creepy guy shows up and he makes them pick the pebbles from the bag.
Oh my God, yes.
And then they have the visions of them all jumping into the ocean and everything. That scared me so bad.
Haas says it almost sounds like story. It's very similar. Obviously, both Stephen King films. And so for the record, if you guys didn't know, Storm of the Century is a Stephen King film. It was not a Stephen King book. He wrote it as a teleplay, which is a screenplay for television, and then they turned it into a film. It was later on released as a book, but he wrote it specifically as I believe, a miniseries, right?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know. I remember watching it when I was younger. It was like every Sunday night for like 4 or 5 Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course that when they make the parents or the mother pick the pebble, and whoever had the black pebble, basically you lost your...
Right, that's a great image too. The black pebble in the hand. Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And there was something about those 90s Stephen King miniseries. They were so good.
Yeah.
It definitely, I loved it. And to go back just a little bit further, where Ted had Maximum Overdrive.
I love Maximum Overdrive.
It's a goddamn guilty pleasure.
Maximum Overdrive the transport truck with the
is it the like gremlin?
Is it a gremlin or a devil?
Barrett would know, but I think it's the
it's like a green...
I want to say the grave digger, but it's not. I don't know what it is.
No, anyway, it's like a green devil face or something. Yeah. That one, that is a crazy movie. When they're like rolling over the baseball players with the cement.
Yes.
And it was a great movie.
And the movie makes no sense at all.
None whatsoever.
For the record, Stephen King thought, and I probably shared this maybe last week.
Goblin.
There we go. Thank you, Barrett. So Stephen King thought that people hadn't done good adaptations of his film. So he figured he was going to direct a film, Maximum Overdrive, the only film Stephen King ever directed. Has a kick-ass soundtrack, all AC/DC. He reached out to him. They said, sure, let's do it. But the movie is hot trash. But it's it's got a young Emilio Estevez in it.
Yep.
Yeah, very, just a great film. I guess guilty pleasure, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
But how does it work? A comet, Earth passes through the tail of a comet, and it causes all vehicles to become self-aware.
All electronics.
Yeah.
You guys remember the girl hanging out the window from her blow dryer strangling her?
How about the pop machine that shoots pop out? Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, hits them in the head and kills them. It's like...
We got Chris J. Dixon over on TikTok, and we got looks like your sister, Amy, my sister-in-law. See her way up in the corner there.
Oh,
we got 485 likes. Somebody just said, what radio station are you on? You can catch us on the easiest place to be YouTube right at the moment, or you can catch us in all podcatchers under the Workshop Podcast. It comes out, Toolman Tim's Workshop Podcast, at least 3 times a week. So thank you. Appreciate you coming in. And I think, is that Stinky Nuts? I like your name. We got a whole bunch of Canadian flags for that. So Maximum Overdrive, best soundtrack ever. The next one would be Iron Man 2. That had a whole shit ton of...
Oh, yeah.
What did they pay to get all those AC/DC?
Shitty movie,
yeah.
but they had...
All right. Go ahead, Mrs. Cook.
All right. Number 7, I copped out again. I did the Halloween series.
Oh, boy, guys. I tell you, I don't know what to do with her.
So we're going to exclude a couple of the Halloweens, of course. Season of the Witch, which was a bag of hot trash.
Well, it
was ridiculous.
Halloween film without Michael in it.
Yeah. And it was dumb. I can't even watch it. And then, of course, and we're not going to include the Rob Zombie,
which I love, by the way. Only the first one.
Remember? Yeah, I do like the first one, but it is not the originals.
No, definitely.
And I'm gonna exclude the ones with Paul Rudd.
Oh my God, I forgot he was in a Halloween film.
Yeah, and
The Man Who Doesn't Age. I think he's a horror film all by himself.
And then there's the little girl. Her name's Jamie. Anyway.
Oh yes.
Yeah, those. I think those are just cash catchers. They were just trying to profit off the Halloween series. But the first Halloween is an original.
Oh, John Carpenter.
John Carpenter, Jamie Lee Curtis. Like you can't go Jamie Lee Curtis, no matter what anybody says, she's the scream queen. She always has been, always will be.
How many horror? Like 3? Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy over on TikTok says H2O thumbs down.
Right. Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Michelle Williams. No. But Jamie Lee Curtis was in it, so that's why I do watch it. Jamie Lee Curtis is incredible. She is
She's
one of my favorites.
Yeah. It's almost a sin that the new horror. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think she came back to do it because she's still involved with it, but I think she just wants it to be done.
Yeah.
Like, and that's fine.
I'm sure they offered her a decent.
Oh yeah. Well, she'd be stupid not to take any money, right? Mm-hmm. She's incredible. But like she was also in Prom Night.
Yes.
When she was incredible in Prom Night. But like I would say Halloween series, but I think honestly probably just the first Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
because it's a classic.
It is.
Did it come out before Friday the 13th or after? I can't remember, but they all came out about the same time.
Well, the first Halloween was 1978.
Right. So it'd be very damn close, I think, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre started it all. And then the next three just came boom, boom, boom like that. But they were always, they're fun.
I've watched them all and they're all great. But like the one where, I don't know which one it is, but where they kill Michael and then they eat his heart. And then he comes back as like he's.
Oh, that where,
or was that Jason?
That's Jason.
That's Jason. Okay. Sorry.
That might be Jason. Jason's dead or
maybe.
But yeah.
Well, okay. Never mind. Sorry. I apologize. That's
because
Jason.
Everybody becomes Jason in that
Yes.
film.
Okay. Sorry. That's my fault.
All right.
But like the Michael Myers, like when they bring the doctor in and everything, it's the Rob Zombie one was pretty true to it, but it's not the original.
I love his slum chic that he does, the whole.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of his wife.
I get it. And she didn't need to be in it, but you know what? No. She fit in well.
She did good in the first one. I will give her that. But it's not the original.
Oh, absolutely. What's this fourth? Hey, bro, I'm doing a project for school. Can you explain what the fourth dimension is to me? Yeah, we're going to scroll on. I don't know what the fourth dimension is, but unless we're, but anyway. So, yeah, I love the Halloween films. I do. Yep. And confession time. I don't believe I'd seen any of them before you and I met. So she's completely ruined me, of course. If I didn't have a sick and twisted mind before, I certainly have one now. And use your imagination. But my number 7 is Hereditary.
Oh, Hereditary is so good.
Another film that 100% lived up to the hype, surpassed the hype, and one of the few films that really made me feel. It made me feel dread, made me feel depressed. It legitimately scared me, and that does not happen very often.
Well, it was so dark, and I don't know. It was so dark, and it had a lot of things in there that a lot of movies haven't touched on. You know what I mean? So it's like,
without spoiling, dealing with the loss of a child. That is huge, and and it's one of those movies that legitimately sets you up for one thing and then knocks your head right off your shoulders about 15 minutes in. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then it just goes fucking balls to the wall bonkers toward the end. It almost felt, the last few minutes almost felt like a Hellraiser movie.
Yes.
Remember?
Which is crazy. Insane.
Oh,
and it's got good. Gabriel Byrne in it. And Toni Collette,
which was kind of resurgence for her, for sure.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, it's one of those films that deals with horror and also psychological.
I'd say mental illness.
Yes.
Yeah, like it does deal with a lot of like mental problem, like mental illness. And it deals with loss. But and I think it deals with a lot of really dark, touchy subjects.
Very much so. Religion was in there too a little bit.
Yeah, like it's not for the weak of heart.
Oh no. It'll make you a little bit sick to your stomach. And even if you don't stick around to the ending, there's about 3 scenes in the film. The first one I kind of alluded to. I won't spoil that, but the big shock surprise 15-20 minutes in is crazy.
Yeah.
Then to me, for whatever reason, the scariest scene in the whole movie was the old lady that had the seance. Do you remember?
Yep.
And for whatever reason, it is just, I don't know. That was the thing. It still gives me a little bit of tingles in the back of my neck when I think about it. I don't know why that fucked me up so bad, but it was a great film, wasn't it?
It was. And like I said, though, like like you have to go into it with an open mind.
Yes.
And because if you're not willing to do that, and then you're not going to understand it. But and I find if horror movies really, really bother you, it helps to realize you have to remind yourself that it's just a movie.
Absolutely.
Right? Because
but it's escape. It makes you feel, it lets you feel, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's great to have the shit scared out of you.
It is, but it is really, really, really dark.
Absolutely.
Really dark.
Terry, I think that might be is that Terry Christie? I think she said, "Hey Tim, hey Becky," over on TikTok. Wendy, hey Wendy, good to see you. She's watching over on Facebook. We got a great crew in tonight. What an awesome crew!
Who doesn't like movies? Right?
Absolutely. So yours next?
Number 6.
You talk about number 6. I'm just gonna run next door for a split second. You
okay.
Good? Yep. I'm just gonna have a water break.
So my number 6 is The Conjuring. It's hard to do this by myself. So, all right. So it's The Conjuring, the first one. Now with Ed and Lorraine, they're the real people. I think they've both passed now. The first one it's a really, really good movie. They touch on like all the, I think where it's the first one, they're touching on Ed and Lorraine Warren, how they're psychological researchers, paranormal researchers, and they deal with a lot of exorcisms and demon possession. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Amityville when you're you all good? Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Amityville with the whole possession and the haunting of the house.
Ed and Lorraine had something to do with the original Amityville as well.
Yes,
which they don't talk about in the movies, do they?
No, I don't. Not that I know of yet.
That's what I was thinking.
But like I guess of course, then The Conjuring was the starting.
Yes.
Of all the other ones.
How many? There's The Conjuring 1 through 3.
Yeah.
There's The Nun.
Annabelle 2.
Sinister is in that. Maybe not.
I don't think Sinister is. No.
All right.
No. Like The Conjuring is the whole Ed and Lorraine.
Yes, that's right.
And then they're doing a Conjuring 4.
Which is great. Because was it Sinister or was it Conjuring that we went and watched the third one of in theaters this couple?
It was The Conjuring.
Yeah. That was good.
It was, yeah.
We're at 1100.
Not as good as the first one.
No. 1,100 likes over on TikTok. And Stinky Nuts wants to let you know you're doing a great job, Becky. So keep it up. She didn't know I was going to do that. Wife, oh yes. Yeah, there's Joel's wife, Wendy, the one that kept letting me sit under the awning and chill with them when I needed some quiet time at all the different events. So you don't know how much that meant to me, Wendy. It's good to have you. Conjuring, Letty says Conjuring's good. Haas says Conjuring's great. And Haas said, I think the house got sold not too long ago. Probably Amityville, he's speaking of.
Well, they did away with the eye windows and everything. They made them square windows and stuff. But like I find with The Conjuring, it was the first movie that I had seen in a long time that it creeped me out.
Absolutely, it did. Yeah. And it was, and it was PG-13.
It was. I watched it just the other night, and of course, you watch it again. You watch it a couple times, like okay, it's not as scary as it was, but it was pretty creepy.
It was, and it atmosphere, right?
Yes.
So, was that let's just see here right quick. So The Conjuring. I'm gonna spell that wrong, right? There we go. Conjuring the Beyond. Oh, that must be a knockoff, right?
Yeah.
And let's just bring up number 2 right there. That'll tell us who the director. I think it was James Wan is the director. He is a modern horror master.
Yeah.
What was the crazy balls to the wall one we watched not too long ago where the girl, her body goes backwards and they have like this gory fight that looks like it belongs in a John Carpenter film?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't a very good movie, but I
know but it was fun. Look, James Wan, like I said, is a master of horror. He has like 15 movies in pre-production. Letty Lou didn't know all 8 were connected. They are. So Insidious, he is producer on all the Insidious films. Malignant. So if you guys haven't seen Malignant, it's good. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy. It's so cheesy. I think it's going to be a cult classic someday. I think it will, because it doesn't make any sense at all, but it's really good. Really, really good in its own way. But Yeah, so James Wan was involved in all those. I don't know if the Sinister film or Insidious films were. I don't know. There's just a whole bunch of them. They're all kind of in that same world.
I think Insidious. Who's the actor?
I don't know.
Patrick Wilson.
Yes.
Is he the one in the Insidious movies?
He's directing. Yeah. Okay. That's him. There it is.
Yeah. So does he play? He plays Ed.
Yes, and Rose Byrne plays Lorraine, right?
No, Lorraine is Vera Farmiga.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. No, Rose Byrne is the wife in Insidious.
Right.
But I don't think Conjuring and the Insidious are connected.
I got to bring this up. So Wendy, she knew this would be the Lutz family, I'm guessing, or one of the families. I'm from the
original family was the Lutz family.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that family, but she knew them, and she said it wasn't actually scary for them. It was a friendly ghost that would pet their hair and open doors before they got there. I don't know about you, but I think that would be scary as shit.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's not breaking stuff.
I guess, yeah. That's like what was the Steven Spielberg film that we talked about last week? From the 80s, the TV Poltergeist. Yeah, it's like I don't care how friendly those ghosts might be, they're fucking scary. But all right. So my number 6 is one we already talked about, but I think it deserves a little talk again. Is Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 edition, and because that's just so goddamn good. That movie is so good. I don't know everything about it, right?
Yeah.
It hasn't aged well, but that was my introduction to Down with the Sickness. If you guys know that song, I mean, it is as loud and as heavy metal as possible. And in Dawn of the Dead, there's a scene where they're running from zombies. They get into the elevator, the door shuts, and you're just there with Muzak. For those of you who are younger than 35, Muzak used to be background music they'd play in the malls that sounded like real songs, but were just played on a $15 MIDI keyboard is what it was. But Dawn of the Dead was great. So they get in there, and Down with the Sickness by Disturbed is playing, but it's just kind of quiet, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then there's a swing version of it too, isn't there?
I think so.
I can't. That is just a killer soundtrack. But anyway, Dawn of the Dead. If you've never seen the 2004 version, do yourself a favor and go and see it. Disturbed. I love that. The other night I come home and it came on just at the opening where he goes, right loud. So I cranked it right up, living my high school days again. So, and I see Renegade Butchers over on TikTok tonight. Hello from TikTok. Good to see you, my friend, Josh. And I saw Jester from It's Doomsday podcast was on earlier. And Ted says he used to live in a haunted house. I'd hear voices coming from the answering machine.
No, I used to think that we lived in a haunted house too. It was, I don't know if Amy's still online or not, but it was on Davis Street.
Okay.
And she probably wouldn't remember because she was little, but there was this one time that we, just after we moved in, and we heard a lot of clanking and banging, and we went down and all the kitchen pots were in the middle of the kitchen. And
sure that wasn't your brother?
No, because Brian would have only been 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like, honestly, I think it was my dad.
Sure. Trying to scare you.
Because he also told us that the lady who owned the house.
Oh, look, there's Amy. She moved over to Facebook.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah. I think it might've been, because he also told us that the lady who owned the house died on the toilet.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I don't know. It might have been him. I don't know, but it still traumatized me. So I don't know if it was him or not.
We've had a few people that have asked, have you watched so-and-so movie? I'm going to star them and we'll do them at the end because they're exciting. I love that film. Haas is asking about White Noise. We'll come back to that because movie. It's a good film. So what am I on?
I'm on number 5.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I had Quiet Place. Okay. But I took it off because I had another honorable mention.
Oh, okay. What is it?
It is not a bloody horror.
Oh, okay.
But it's Threads.
Oh, yes. I had to think about that.
I don't know if anybody has seen Threads. Like, it's almost the same.
Because I introduced you to that not too long ago.
I had seen it before.
You had? Okay.
Yeah. But I think I kind of mentally blocked it out. But every once in a while, when you're thinking about movies, it's one of those movies that creeps into your brain and you're like, that movie really traumatized me a lot. And it's dark and it's scary and it's so like you can't really say it's realistic, but it is realistic, and just everything, and it's so depressing, and it kind of had like The Road feel.
Yep. Yeah.
So depressing.
If it's possible, it could be more depressing than The Road.
Oh, it was all. It's like it's an awful movie, but it's a good movie, and it's not for the faint of heart.
Oh,
again,
no,
it's
not entertaining at all. I mean, it's a great film, but
Threads with a D.
Yes. Oh, Threads. Yeah. I got a picture of it up here on the screen, Haas, if you're watching. Yeah. But it was a made-for-TV film that was. So there was two. This one came out on the BBC back in 1984, and the U.S. networks were working on one as well called The Day After. They're both really bad. Day After takes place in Kansas, and it's bad. But Threads is even, I don't know. There's something about Threads that feels real.
Yeah, and it's about nuclear war.
Yes.
And it takes place in England.
Yep. Yeah. And Sheffield, England. Yep.
Yeah, in England. It is very. It's terrifying.
It
is because none of us have ever actually been in a nuclear war or anything. So you don't know. But like when you watch this, you have this in the back of your head, like, oh my goodness, this is probably what would happen.
Right.
And it's scary. And it scared me. It's still like I sometimes have dreams about it. It's a scary movie.
It was in one of my lists of post-apocalyptic films, and it is a deadly scary, very serious film that if they turned this into an anti-STD movie, it would have scared every teenager away from having sex for 100 years. But this is a movie that's like, holy shit, the Cold War sucks, and this is what could happen. And they take it to its logical conclusion. They run it. Doesn't it have a scope of like 10 or 20 years?
Yeah, it does, because it has the scope of basically nothing being able to grow, people starving to death, and then you've got people with radiation and deformities.
Oh yeah,
and and of course then there's no fertility, there's no
they can't have babies anymore.
They can't have babies,
and why the hell would you want to?
Right, but even when they can, but it's like, and then of course then it's people struggling to survive, and it's brutal. Like in England's already brutal enough for growing things over there, because you can just imagine how much worse it would be, right? Yeah. But no, it's a very, very dark movie.
Absolutely. Real quick, Renegade Butcher over on TikTok says the swing version in Dawn of the Dead was by Richard Cheese. Huh. Oh.
Okay.
Now he might be being funny. Josh wanted me to. He always likes to get me to say really inappropriate things, so he can turn them into clips over on Fountain. So if you guys want to ever hear the worst of me talking about jiggling a lock in and out, yeah, he's good at that. But he also mentioned The Descent. I don't know why The Descent is such a. I liked it.
Yeah.
But it's become a modern horror classic that people talk about all the time.
The Descent. No,
yes, that's where they go underground, spelunking, cave.
Caving, I didn't like
and
that one.
They find like aliens or something. Not aliens, but creatures down there. Remember?
Yeah, but
very claustrophobic.
Yeah, no, I don't think I really like that one too.
And if you're over on TikTok, make sure you hit a like for us, guys. We're at 1,100 likes, so thank you very much. That's insane. So my next one on my list is number 5, Rob Zombie.
Yep.
Anybody want to pick what my favorite Rob Zombie film was? I can fill you in, but I really don't think it ever got better than his first one. They're all good. I really like. So it's Dawn of the Dead, and then, House of a Thousand Corpses, and then what's the second one? Children, no.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, the second one, I can't think of the name right now, but when they play Freebird at the end, when they're going, House of the, Children
of the Damned, or
something. I can't, it doesn't matter, but yeah, so I love House of a Thousand Corpses, and I think a couple of reasons. It was in that renaissance of early 2000s horror films, and if you ever look at the behind the scenes happening of House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, thank you, Amy. I don't know. Yes. Yeah. So if you ever look at it, Rob Zombie tried to get this film made for many years. It got bought and sold by multiple studios. Nobody wanted to touch it until Universal picked it up and ended up they turned it into a haunted house night at Universal. And then if I could be wrong about this one, but I think they ended up dumping the film again. And I believe he ended up buying it and releasing it himself. So I didn't know what I was in for. And that's part of the fun with these movies, is when you don't know what you're in for. So I sat down one night, watched it all by myself before we met. And I sat down, watched it, and it was scary. A lot of people call it a Texas Chainsaw Massacre knockoff, which it kind of is, but it's got that grungy look that it is what Rob Zombie is. House of a Thousand Corpses was written as a love letter to horror films. He loves the classic horror, and he does, and of course his kind of mystique and look and whatever you want to call it is just dripping in the film. But what stuck with me is that final scene when they have the guy on his knees with the gun to his head, and the camera pulls up and up and up and up and slow, and then all of a sudden, boom, they shoot him in the head. And that just made me sick to my stomach. And so apparently I like movies that make me sick to my stomach because it's good. I loved it. And I've enjoyed his movies. He's a very good example of law of diminishing returns. He's good. Each film afterwards got a little bit not so good.
Yes.
Devil's Rejects is great. It has an incredible ending with the three rejects driving in the with the top down in the vehicle, and Freebird is playing Running in the Background by Leonard Skinner, and it is just awesome. They have an absolute shootout, and how the hell he ever turned it into a third film, I'll never know. But it was good.
Well, and a lot of his movies are really dirty.
Oh, grungy,
like
through and through. I mean, they look like a Rob Zombie music video.
Well, and they kind of look like they're filmed on like 35 millimeter.
Yeah, 16 or 70, whatever. The old,
like the old film. They're all filmed like that. And
Super 8.
And of course, all the characters always look like they just crawled out of a ditch. Mm-hmm. And like, I didn't mind it. I don't think I actually have sat down and watched it start to end.
Okay.
Like, I've caught bits and pieces of it because I do have a hard time with a lot of Rob Zombie's movies.
Mm-hmm. Now, because you really don't like Sherry Moon Zombie, which I totally get.
But Devil's Rejects I did like.
Yes,
I did like that one. But I do have a hard time with his movies.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
like I said, I loved his Halloween remake. Most people didn't. I hated his second one. He should have just stuck with one. But apparently, they threw a bunch of money at him, and he's like, "Fine, I'll do it." And then he did the goddamn Monsters, and apparently it's a hot mess. So
no, I won't even watch that one.
And so Renegade Butcher says, no, seriously, it is legitimately Richard Cheese. Look it up. So I'm guessing somebody didn't want them to know what the real name was on the song, but because what's short for Richard? Yeah. And then Tennessee Texan Shiner says The Devil's Rejects. Thank you as well over on TikTok. But so House of a Thousand Corpses. Love it. It is absolutely an homage to classic horror. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the works. What do you have next, darling?
Number 4, The Strangers.
Ooh, the original, not
the original, remake. The one with Liv Tyler.
How did they go and remake that film? Not even that, like, what, 15 years, 10 years? I don't know.
The remake actually wasn't horrible.
It was okay.
Guilty pleasure.
Yep.
But the original, The Strangers, that movie creeped me out.
Oh, yes.
And the whole, when she says the line, "Why are you doing this to us?" And she responds with, "It's because you were home, or because you answered the door." It's a really creepy movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like when they're like writing on the windows and banging on it, and like just what they do, and of course at the end, like the ending is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of the very, very few movies that I don't mind Liv Tyler in.
I had a huge crush on Liv Tyler back in the day. Of course I did, because there was a 14-year-old boy and she was in all the Aerosmith movie. Or no, just the one, right? She was only in one?
2.
It was Alicia Silverstone was in all of them. But there was a few movies that I really liked when she was back in the day, but I can't help it. It was what it was. So So anyway, The Strangers, you enjoyed that?
I did.
Good.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was a good film from what year did I can't? There we go. The Strangers, 2008.
2008. Yeah.
So how did they go and make The Strangers with Liv Tyler in 2008, and then they end up making a remake of it? Was that Strangers Pray at Night? Is that the one?
That's the one. Yeah.
Oh, so maybe it wasn't a remake. Maybe it was a spiritual sequel. 10 years later.
Yeah, I think it's just a sequel of the same characters.
That's the one where the person gets drowned in the pool, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's okay. I enjoyed it, but the original was good. I like that quite a bit. So Strangers, number 4. Now, if you guys happen to watch the episode I did with Cam and Colby from the Casual Preppers podcast, great guys, they're going to come back and we're going to do an episode on this one. So this is my favorite M. Night Shyamalan film. It's also a PG-13. It is a masterclass in tension and not showing you what's there. And that is Signs. Now, whenever I personally, I think it's enjoying a bit of a renaissance. I think there's a lot of people who talk about it, kind of like Descent. It was a film that was looked at okay when it came out, but over the years, people have really gotten into it. So Signs, if you haven't seen it, it's great. And don't care about how cheesy.
I love Signs.
Yes. The aliens look cheesy. You don't see the aliens. It's got to be an hour into the film before you see it.
Yeah, but you don't even see it.
It's
it's like on a camera in the camera.
Yeah, it's handycam film from Mexico at a girl's birthday party. Brazil. At a girl's birthday party. And you're seeing it like shaky, and then just for a second. And I still get chills. I love it.
Yeah, when he walks across.
And he walks into the green freaking alien and he walks, and you're like, oh my fucking God, what is going on? But the cast, oh my God.
The cast is so
good.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
Mel Gibson.
You
just stop there and it's perfect. Because I'm a huge... Joaquin Phoenix is incredible. I think he is underrated as an actor myself.
Well, and say what you want about Mel Gibson. I love Mel Gibson.
I don't care. You can,
yeah.
You know, it's not like he's Bill Cosby or anything.
No, he is an incredible actor. Everything he does is good. I love all his movies. I'm a huge, Lethal Weapon.
Oh yeah.
Fan. But but that movie, and Joaquin and Mel, they have a really good chemistry too.
Oh, I wish, it would be great if they did one. They can't make a sequel to that per se, but it would be good.
But they had a really good chemistry, and it was just Rory Culkin.
Yes. And who's the girl? Isn't she one of the famous?
I know who she is, but I can't.
She's not the one from the Tom Cruise movie War of the Worlds, is it?
No. She is the new. She's on the Scream Queens.
Oh yeah. Oh,
show.
Yeah, she was in Little Miss Sunshine.
Yes.
Yeah. What was
Abigail
Breslin?
Breslin. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a perfect film, and one of the things I love about Signs is in 2002, it was well known that crop circles were hoaxes. They were basically people who would go out with 2x4s, and they were. They literally, Joaquin Phoenix talks about it. He's like nerds that didn't have any girlfriends.
Yeah.
And they would go out and make signs or crop circles in the crops. What I love about that is M. Night Shyamalan flips the expectations on its head. He says, yes, we know this, but they're real.
Yeah.
And when they're chasing the alien around the house, do you see him for a split second? There's kind of a muddy view of him on the roof when he steps over the roof.
Just like a shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it plays like a Stephen King film, doesn't it? It
does.
Because you have this small country town, and the lady who plays the sheriff is friggin' perfect. She's awesome. The guy who plays the military guy, remember the recruiting guy?
Yeah.
There's something off-putting about him.
Well, and M. Night Shyamalan's in it. He plays the vet.
Yes. And, the less M. Night Shyamalan talks in a film, the better off we all are.
He wasn't horrible.
No, he was pretty good. Yeah. And, of course, he plays the guy who killed Mel Gibson's wife inadvertently because he fell asleep. He was a vet who was working late, looking after animals.
Yeah.
Everything. The writing is taught. I don't even care that the swing away glass of water ending was cheesy. It doesn't matter because it is a masterclass in atmosphere. So good. And again, like I said, less is more. There's plenty of times where you see a reflection of the alien in a butcher knife. You see a quick pass of the alien at the birthday party. You see a quick glance at the alien on the roof.
And of course, then it makes you jump about 100 feet.
Oh,
when the hand comes underneath the door and he cuts the fingers off.
Yeah.
Like, because you're not expecting it at all. And he's looking underneath the door and he's looking at the glare, and all of a sudden it just kind of made me jump. Oh my!
So good.
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
So I'm going to have Cam and Colby back, and we're going to do an entire episode just on signs. I don't know why, but it's going to be great. They love it. They talk about it all the time. So go ahead, Darlene. What's next?
Number 3, I have The Cabin in the Woods.
Ooh, with a young Thor.
With Chris Hemsworth.
Yes.
And of course, very disappointing though, because he
gets killed in a freak motorcycle accident.
Yeah. Very, very, very quick in the movie.
Yes.
But it's one of those movies you're watching and you're thinking, okay, well, this is going to be kind of cheesy and dumb. But then it gets more in depth. And as it gets more in depth into it, you're just like, this is really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a mind fuck. There's no other way to put it.
It is. And then of course, when it keeps going, and it's got Richard Jenkins in it, who's
he's so good.
He's so good.
He's the dad from Step Brothers, right? Yeah.
But it gets more and more, because like you're thinking, okay, it's just going to be a cheesy kind of like a Jason in the woods. They're going to kill all these teenagers, yada yada yada. But then you realize how in depth it is.
Oh, it's very deep.
Yeah,
and completely crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah.
The virus. What Haas asked the question, what about the virus?
Is that about the virus?
Oh, is that about the virus? Which one?
Probably the movie. No.
Cabin. No, you're thinking of Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever. No, this one is
written by Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon.
Buffy and
Avengers but it's kind of like a demon sacrificial. Like, I don't want to give too much away. No.
It plays like the Bruce Campbell film. Which one? Evil Dead. It plays like Evil Dead until Chris Hemsworth dies. And then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
The movie does a 180-degree turn and it turns into something totally wacky, but it's scary. It's entertaining. It's bloody as hell. It's smart, it's stupid, it's funny, all of the above.
But then, of course, and as it goes on and they start realizing what's happening,
yes,
then it starts getting creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of creepy shit down below.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like these people get, and then at the end, I think we talked about it before.
Yeah, I think we did a little bit.
At the end, you kind of, like, you're rooting for them, and then you're like, no.
I know.
They actually have to die.
You almost right? Wish, yeah, you're like, okay, because it's one of the rare ones where you're rooting against the protagonist, because you realize that if, spoiler alert, if they're willing to sacrifice themselves, they'll save the entire earth.
The entire world.
And if they don't, everybody's fucking dead.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. It's so weird.
Yeah, and it's got Sigourney Weaver in it too.
Oh, yes,
yeah, she makes a little cameo in it.
Haas says he doesn't think he's seen it. Do yourself a favor and watch it.
It is really good. It's
you'll
on
never
Netflix.
Be disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 3, we're going to scroll back. Chicken Hawk, I don't know if you're still out there listening. You might just be driving around on a forklift at the grocery plant tonight. But if you're out there listening, this is for you, buddy. High tension. And Chris Dixon, if you're still listening, wherever you happen to be, I don't know if you're still over on TikTok or not. High tension is a friggin'... So we are in the creme de la creme now.
Yeah.
We're in the top 3. Did I jump ahead of you? Did I skip your number 3?
No, no.
2 left. Okay.
High Tension was number 14 on my list.
Yes. Yeah. So High Tension is a French horror movie that it's a perfect title of a film, High Tension, because it ramps up. The tension just starts at the very beginning and it ramps its way up the whole way through. And you don't know what the fuck is going on. But wow, is it ever twisted? And it's a psychological horror.
Yep.
But it's absolutely that trope of Home Alone in the middle of the night. They're not home alone, but there's 3 or 4 people. You know, yep. I think they were roommates in college or something. Yeah,
it's the 2 girls, and they go to the one girl's house for like
in the countryside of France, right?
Yeah, it's like their vacation from school or something. Like, I don't know, one of the holidays or something. But
and she has a bit of a crush on her, remember?
Yeah.
And but she doesn't want to talk, so there's all this, there's this suppressed homosexuality. There's psychological anyway, I don't think we didn't give away the twist last time, and we're not going to. You need to watch this film.
But I will say again, though, it is the first movie that we watched when we lived in Marshalltown.
Yeah,
where I actually got up and made sure the back door was locked, because it is that creepy, and it is on Crave right now too.
For us Canadians,
and I believe it's on Prime. But
that's Amazon, right? Yep.
Yeah, and it is dubbed, but it's a really, really good dub.
It is, and it's so worth it. And it was made in 2003. You notice there's a lot of early 2000s films on this list.
Yeah,
because there was a real, I've probably used the word renaissance too much tonight, but there was a real resurgence in horror in the early 2000s, and they were all filmed. That was when digital was getting really, really big, and it has this grainy look that the film's never going to be pure high definition because it was filmed on digital.
Yeah,
it's very similar to some of like Star Trek: The Next Generation. Was produced on video cassette. So they, in order to do high definition, they have to rebuild all of the sets. They can't do it, right? So and this one's really grainy, really gritty, and it is just
and when you watch it, it doesn't look like it's from the 2000s. It kind of looks like an 80s.
Sure it does. It plays like that for sure.
And
it doesn't matter that they're French and it's a cheesy overdub. It's great.
No, it is a great.
And Andy over on Telegram says, and that's why I don't watch horror movies, talking about Mel having issues with stair treads. But it's a great film. The girl in it, I mean, nobody has a lot of dialogue. It's a very quiet film. A very dark, sick, and twisted film. And it's one of those movies that deals with mental illness.
It does deal with mental illness,
without giving it away. But we
don't want to give away too much because you have to watch it. It's really
good. And and like I said, one of those gas-powered pavement cutters is used as a implement of destruction. It is totally worth it. There is another name for that film, and I was trying to find it while we were talking, but I can't. Sometimes there's alternate titles in here. But let's see. Here's a piece of trivia from this film, just so you know. The camera used during the car attack scene, and that is the one where they use the cement cutter. They said the camera used during the car attack scene got so much fake blood on it during the shooting that when it was being used on another film, the fake blood oozed from it during focusing on the shot. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway. Evening Kentucky Sustainable Living. Good to have you in here. Okay, baby, go ahead with your number 2. Oh, just wanted to say, Haas just watched it, loved the film, High Tension, and it's on Tubi for, that's a free, I think we have Tubi up here too. But cool. Go ahead, darling, number 2.
Number 2 is It.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Now, I don't want to downplay the original.
Right. It's okay. It's not great.
I do like Tim Curry. So he was good. He was good.
Yep. And it was made for TV, so they could only get away with so much.
But he is no Skarsgård.
Oh, not at all. No.
The new It actually, it is scary.
Yeah, legitimately scary.
Legitimate, and of course, and they're more.
Well, okay. So there's a scene in it. I'm going to just jump in right quick. Yeah. They don't hide anything. There's a scene where Georgie gets his arm bit off.
Exactly, because in the TV version with, the older version, what happens, but they don't actually show it.
Right.
But in the newer ones, they're not shy about all that.
But it's a film that needs to show the violence.
Yeah, it has to show the violence.
Yes.
And of course, and the kids in it are great. Mm-hmm. They're great actors, and it's just it's probably one of the movies that made me scared of clowns.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and that was the original one. But then when you watch the new one, you're just like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely scared of clowns. It's really good.
And so it's cool. So if you've never read the book, of course, Stephen King, and I kind of have a thing for his literature for sure, if you want to call it that. But some people call it his magnum opus. I prefer The Stand, but it's written with flashbacks. So you have the kids, you have the present, you have the kids, you have the present. And in the movie, they decided to make the choice where they do the kids in one film and the adults in the second one. And I think it was the best choice they could do. But the kid one, the first of the two movies, was significantly better, I think.
Oh, it was so good. And I like that in the newer version too, it gives you a lot more story.
Yes.
Like
it does, yeah.
Yeah, because in the TV one, it was just basically about jump scares and about creeping people out, but it didn't give you a lot of backstory.
No.
And I find it does more in the newer versions.
Yes, it's very, very and like I said, it was brought a little bit to the, so in the Stand book, I think it was written in it was written maybe in 84. So the modern day was the 80s and the flashbacks were the 50s. And what I loved about the new series was modern day was today and the flashbacks were the 80s. It was really cool. I liked how they did that.
But and they're just more open to a lot of it too. Like they just like, because you don't know a lot of the backstories about the one guy's parents.
Yeah, they fill you all in on that.
Yeah, and of course, and it's more interesting to watch.
So I just, for anybody over on TikTok, I just ended it and restarted it because after you're live for a while, you tend to kind of lose the audience. So we're gonna just try it, see what happens. But thank you everybody who's been over there. We're gonna go back live again. But yeah, it was great, and there's some really good scenes in it.
Yes, yeah.
Special effects were used really well, and for the record, that creepy thing he does with his eyeballs is real. He can do that.
Yeah, that's really creepy.
Oh, so
one
creepy.
Eye goes this way, one eye goes this way.
Oh yeah.
And of course, and I find there's a lot more interaction with him too.
Yes, very
like
much
when
so.
Georgie's talking to him in the sewer. Like, and of course, when I was a kid, when I watched this, I was scared to death of sewers.
Oh yeah.
Because like just when he's down there and he's like, "Hey Georgie," you know what I mean? And then, can you smell that? Can you smell the popcorn? Pop, 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 and then he goes all crazy. It's like, yeah, no, it's a really creepy movie.
I knew we were in for a treat. I hate to say this, guys, but when we went to the theaters to see the first It, and when Pennywise bit off Georgie's arm, and then you see him crawling in the rain, I knew they were going to do their damnedest to turn it into something special, and they did. Yeah. And Haas says, I have an Oculus VR and went into it in the 3D. It was awesome. Is that high tension you're talking about? Because if it is, I've got an Oculus as well. And I would love to watch a film in 3D. That would be cool. That would be really trippy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. This winter, I'm going to play with that a little bit, I promise. At least we're going to try anyway. Yeah. So, we got Solarhead over on TikTok. We got a few people by, but it's good to have you. Okay, so I'm going to go to my number 2 now. What do we have here? So, Ted, yeah, you're still here, aren't you, Ted? So there's a few. This is Alfred Hitchcock. This would be his classic. It is so good. Oh, the movie It. He watched it. Oh, cool. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, that would be crazy. So Alfred Hitchcock, he has a lot of films. North by Northwest, I would call more of a thriller than a horror. I don't love it. A lot of people do. A lot of people say it's his best. I don't think so. Birds could have made this list, but it didn't. Rear View or Rear Window could have made this list, but it didn't. Even, what was the one I just watched not long ago? I loved it. It had Jimmy Stewart in it, and he played a college professor, and these 2 college students killed one of their friends or compatriots or whatever, and then left him they put him down in the chest and had supper on top of him while everybody came over. Great. But Letty Lou, you are correct. Psycho. There is nothing. So here's the thing. Alfred Hitchcock, we remember him as an absolute master of film, but he had to take, if you look back on the history of Psycho, he took a huge gamble on that film. He set it up so that, when people went to the theater, they were told, you're going to be scared. You can't leave. You got to get here early. He created this entire mystique around it, but it wasn't guaranteed a hit. Nobody knew it was going to be a hit. He bought the rights to the book, and the studio was like, yeah, you're Alfred Hitchcock, but we don't know how good you're going to do with this. And he went and did it. He filmed it in black and white. It's the first film to ever show a flushing toilet. He did kind of similar to what Wes Craven did with Drew Barrymore in Scream. He ended up taking the main female actress and dumping her in a swamp halfway through.
I think that's Jamie Lee Curtis's mother.
That is the original Queen, Scream Queen, right?
Yeah.
And
Janet
Lee, yes. Yeah. So, and people knew who Janet Lee was. They expected her to be in the film all the way through, and then all of a sudden she gets stabbed in a very violent and somewhat erotic kind of scene for its time. And then the scene where he pulls into her eyeball. I mean, the dude was a master, and this film cemented it. And it's become cliche, kind of like Die Hard has, where everybody watches it and you're like, oh, I know all about it simply because I've seen it in The Simpsons or Family Guy or Bates Motel. It's like, oh yeah, I know this. That was that show with the British guy in it, right? It was great. But if you've never watched Psycho, and if you can only watch one Alfred Hitchcock film, it's that. I think you should watch them all, but if you can only watch one, watch Psycho, because it's so damn good. And of course, I always loved Hitchcock. He always had his cameos in the films. And there's when she's leaving. When did they? Oh shoot! No, I got that cameo mixed up. I can't remember where his cameo is in this, but he always has a bit of a cameo in it. Letty Lou says, let's discuss this a little bit. Psycho was so good, the remake not so much.
No, remake with Vince Vaughn and
Anne Heche. Yes.
No,
I enjoyed the movie. We watched it with me and a bunch of buddies in high school on VHS, and it was okay, but it was not the film. I think everybody didn't know that it was literally going to be a scene for scene remake.
Well, and the Bates Motel is actually not too bad.
Oh, like, no, it's great. And because it takes the time to
tell the more of the story.
Yeah. And it never, what I loved about it was it never slid into that WB network teen drama too much, because it could have. It absolutely could have become another Arrow or The Flash or Sabrina the Teenage Witch or whatever those new ones are, right?
Yeah.
And Haas, I haven't seen the sequels to the Psycho films, but most people who do reviews on them love them, which is really weird. Yeah. Either. And I believe one of them was made for TV. I think Psycho 3 might have been a made for TV film, and they brought the original actor back for it. But anyway, number 2, baby.
No, I'm my number
Oh, you're
one.
number 1. Oh, okay. So you're number 1.
This one this is my number 1 because I remember seeing it when I was younger.
Okay.
And
I haven't looked at her list yet. It's right there, but I haven't looked at it. I won't.
It even to this day, like I will watch it, but it affected me more when I had kids, of course. And
is it a Stephen King film?
It is a Stephen King film.
Okay.
And it is.
Was it recently remade?
It was recently remade. Yes.
A subpar remake?
Subpar? I wouldn't even give it that.
Yeah, I know.
The remake was terrible.
Yep.
But yeah, Amy knows which one it is.
She spelled it right.
Yep, because that movie scared the life out of me. It was so scary. And Miko Hughes, that was one of his first movies.
The boy. Yep.
It was playing Little Gage.
Yep.
And the whole atmosphere of like when he gets hit by the truck.
Oh yeah.
And then of course then you watch, and when he goes and they have the fight at the funeral, and he goes and he digs him up, and like he's sitting there and he's holding him. Like even when I was younger that bothered me, but then when you had kids it bothered me so much more. And then when he comes back and he's over at Judd's house. Yes. And he calls his dad on the phone, and it's like it just puts shivers down your spine. It's like, like first I played with Judd, then I played with Mommy, now I want to play with you. And you're just like, and of course I work at a daycare and all these kids are his age, and it's like it's scary, but it breaks your heart at the same time, right? And because like you can tell that the father was just absolutely devastated, and he did everything in his power. And I don't know, that the movie still traumatizes me.
We got Ted over here quoting the Ramones. He said, "I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again."
Yeah, and of course, in the original one, it gives you like the backstory.
Yes,
like because Judd tells a lot of the backstory. The new one was ridiculous.
It didn't need to be done. The first is a classic.
No,
even with Stephen King, his horrendous acting as the pastor, the father, the priest, whatever he was.
Yeah,
but So, Pet Cemetery is one of the few books and the few movies that you can watch at different times in your life and be differently, is that the right word? Differently affected by them. So as a kid, you can watch it. Like as a teenager, I read the book and watched the movie, and it creeps you out. And then you go and watch it as a parent, and it literally destroys you.
Yeah.
It is horrible. And then I think you could probably watch it as a senior and probably deal and align yourself with Judd a little bit, because he's a sad old man who has nobody left. His wife is gone.
Well, and Judd was affected by Gage's death as well, because he was at the picnic with them, and he's like, Lewis, don't let him go near the road.
Right.
And of course, and I think that has a lot to do with the pull from the cemetery, because the way that Gage was moving and the way Lewis was booking it,
yes,
he would have made it to him.
I think so.
But I think that was the whole pull from the cemetery.
Makes sense.
Because
I never thought of that.
like I think the cemetery it kind of thrives on getting the souls.
Sure.
So I think, and that had a lot of play in it as well. But they're all affected by it. And of course, when you first watch it and you see the cat and everything, and you're just like, oh man,
it's tough.
Because like I went into the movie and I hadn't read the book,
right?
So I didn't know that he buried. I didn't know the little boy dies or anything. All I seen was the cat getting killed, and I was like, oh man, they killed the cat.
And then Church comes back,
and then
Church is a great character himself.
He comes back, but then when you see the movie and the little boy died, you're just like, oh my. This is so sad.
And then it just gets worse and worse.
It just keeps getting worse. And of course, he never learns from his mistakes, the father. And then, of course, then you go back and you're thinking, well, what about the little girl? Right? Like, and of course, when you're a kid, you don't think about that. But when you're a parent, you're like, oh my goodness, okay, the mother's dead, the father's dead, the little boy's dead, Judd's dead, the daughter is with the grandparents, and you're just like, and then, of course, I will touch on the subject of the sister.
Oh,
that.
Yep.
I
can't remember her name. It's all right.
Yeah.
She had polio or spinal bifida.
Spinal bifida.
And her parents were.
And like, even to this day, I can hear her voice in my head. That Rachel. That I can still hear it in my head. And that, I think that was the creepiest part of the movie. She was so.
The girl have powers?
And the girl has powers in the new one, I think.
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah, but the whole, I can't remember. You got to look up her name for me.
I will. You go ahead.
Amy might remember her name, the sister. But it was still tight. Like they kept her in the back room, like a hidden secret. And of course, then she dies, and then she comes back as she's in his dreams too. And I was like.
Yeah, she can see things. Yeah.
Oh,
it reminds you of The Grudge. Yeah, that's exactly what she felt like.
Oh, it was scary.
Oh, yeah. Like it was really good. I don't know if we're going to be able to find her. Rachel. Ellie?
Not Ellie. That's the daughter.
That's the daughter.
Zelda.
Zelda. Oh, Zelda. Yes.
Yes, Zelda was the sister.
And then when you think about it, because the parents were horrible people.
Yeah.
Because they left their however old, maybe 10-year-old daughter at home to look after this.
Yeah. Dying sister.
Yeah. It completely scarred her for life. And then when you think about it, the daughter is left with them, right?
Yep.
Wow. I never thought about that before. That is messed up.
Yeah. Like the whole movie's messed up. And of course, then you get Pascal.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, cause he's supposed to be like, Jiminy Cricket, like the voice of reason for Lewis, right? Like, hey, don't take it. You don't need to do this. You don't do this. Don't do this, right? And he just ignores him because I think the cemetery's pulling Lewis,
yes,
to bring the souls to
because the cemetery is its own character.
Yeah.
And it was just, awful. Hunter, this was for you. He just came on and said, hey, you fixed the screen thingy. Yeah, you don't know how much work I put into that this week, sitting down here talking to myself on the camera, trying to figure out. Anyway, we got it working. I even sent in a request to StreamYard to figure it out, so we got it working. Turns out all I needed to do was grab the picture, slide it from one side to the other. But yeah, anyway. And Martinson family says, yes, we live close to the craft paper mill. So there are big trucks drinking by. I think she means driving by, but somebody's been drinking just a little too much. So driving by all the time, and have 2 toddlers. We haven't watched it in years. Won't while we're living here.
Yep.
And yeah, so if you guys, if any of you out there listening who don't know who Jack Spirko is from the Survival Podcast, he always tells the story, live your life to the fullest, because you could get hit by a gravel truck tomorrow. And whenever he says that, I always picture the scene from fucking Pet Cemetery.
It's awful too. And the scene is awful. Like when he's there and he's getting all the flashbacks and
And again, that's a less is more scenario, because you really just see a little kid's shoe on the side of the road.
The shoe.
That's all you need to know.
And then you see the flashbacks and stuff. And I haven't rewatched that movie in years, and I think it's because it's
tough.
It's tough on me, and it scares me.
Letty Loose is definitely not a film to watch with littles. No, not to watch with them, or if you have them. Either way.
And our girls are 12,
yes.
And I honestly don't think I have watched it since before they were born.
It's tough. I read the book once about, we were still down Digby Neck, so 10, 12 years ago, and I regretted it. I regret my decisions. So. Okay, my number 1 is 28 Days Later. I fucking love that film. Danny, who would have thought that the director of Trainspotting could end up making one of the perfect small horror films? Of course, in the 90s, I was big into a lot of the British and indie films. Loved it. Cillian or Killian, however, Cillian Murphy. Love his acting. There was so much about it. The opening scene absolutely is mirrored by The Walking Dead. The opening scene of The Walking Dead, which is crazy. They were written independently at about the same time, and they both came up with the same concept of somebody waking up in a hospital and the world has ended. Now, it was filmed on DV, digital video. So it looks grainy as hell. And if you go to watch it today, you're like, what's wrong? Why haven't they made a better version of it? And they can't, because it doesn't exist, because it was filmed on that digital video, and that's what it was. And when they did scenes like the bridge in London, they had, I think it was 6 or 8 hours to film it. They did everything on a shoestring budget, because nobody wanted to give Danny Boyle a ton of money to make a zombie film, because zombie films were done by then. George A. Romero had long run out of steam. There just wasn't any, there wasn't any money in zombies at the moment. And I loved it. I didn't know what I was in for. I believe it was one of my, not Napster, but whatever came after Napster. I can't remember what I used, but anyway, BitTorrent is what I used. It was one I downloaded it, watched it on a Sunday afternoon in my bedroom. It wasn't even dark, and that movie scared the shit out of me. When he hollers out, Fada.
And the guy looks up and his eyes are all red.
Oh,
but he's completely oblivious to it too, because he's walking around with the grocery bag, and he's picking up all the money off the streets. Like at this point, money means anything, right?
I just thought, how similar is that to Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah.
Shaun's walking around, the world's falling apart, and he's like, hey, I'm going to go down to the store and get
Well, he was hungover too,
True,
right?
Yeah.
But he's like picking up money and he's stuffing it in the bag. And then when he goes into the church there, and he's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay.
And it was so well done. And again, it was probably maybe not the first, but it was the first time I'd seen fast zombies. So it was, it was creepy. It was scary. And of course they weren't zombies. They were infected with the rage virus. And you can thank a bunch of,
activists,
tree-hugging environmentalists for ending the world, just so you know.
And they turn really quick. Because like when they're in the house there, and the guy gets bit in the arm, and she takes the machete to him right instantly, not even giving him a chance to do anything. It's like instant.
She was a good character, the black girl there. She's they don't they call it a chemist in the U.S. or in
but
in
I haven't seen her in anything else.
No, everybody, they were a lot of, for the most part, because Cillian Murphy wasn't well known at the time.
No.
The only actor in it that was well known would be Brendan Gleeson. Is that his name? Is that right?
I think so.
The guy from Mr. Mercedes, the Scottish or Irish, or Letty will correct me, I'm sure. But it was, he was so good. And when he gets that one drip of blood in his eye,
and within, then like instant.
Less than 30 seconds, right?
Yeah, he starts going all crazy from The Crow.
Yes, yeah. And it was it's a good prepper film too, and I think that's why I really like it, because it's very much like, how would you survive? They have all those baskets on the roof, and they're like, hey, it's England, and it wasn't raining. They had no water. He went around checking.
Because he's like, who never thought there'd be no rain in England?
I know, right? It was crazy. And then they made a mound of shopping carts to barricade off the stairwell, but it didn't really work. And they were living on like the 15th floor, and he used Christmas lights to signal people. There was so much. Brendan Gleeson is Irish. There we go. Yes. Yeah. Great guy. I think he's awesome. And if you haven't seen Mr. Mercedes, it's a miniseries based on the Stephen King novel. He plays the main character in it. And
he's a cop, isn't he?
Yeah. Really, really good. And but I what else can I say about 28 Days Later? It, to me.
Well, and it had a couple different endings too, right?
Yeah, it did.
Didn't it have a couple alternate endings?
I'm trying to think of what. Yeah. So the ending that's in the film is when the plane goes over and the girls are doing laundry, right?
Yeah.
But then there's a darker ending that they made him change, and I can't remember.
Well, I think the darker ending is they spell out help,
right?
And then they come and they end up shooting them.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah. It was. Yeah, I.
Kind of like Night of the Living Dead, when the guy survives the whole night and he pops his head up in the window and he gets a bullet in the head.
That's such a great film.
That was so disappointing. The poor guy, he survives all night just to get shot in the head, right?
We got Nate. Nate just popped in over on Telegram. He says, damn, we got to catch the replay. Spent the day fixing ham radio antennas, getting the next batch of rabbit kits going, running around. I love seeing people get shit done, guys. We're having fun tonight. But So that is our top 20 horror films of all time. If you guys have other films, if you're wondering if we've seen them or not, throw them in the comments. We'll go a little longer, but we've got 3-starred comments here. So the first one is from Haas. You ever seen White Noise, babe?
I love White Noise. Michael Keaton.
Oh,
so good.
He's such a good actor.
Creeped me. That is a creepy movie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it is so that is actually, that probably could have made my list if I did like top 40.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when they get like when you're watching it, and then when you start hearing the voices over the white noise and stuff.
Yes.
And then of course when he goes to the house after his wife dies there, and he's sitting there listening, and you can see the shadows in the background of it's like the 3 demons or whatever. You can see them in the background moving around, and then you can hear all the name calling and the swearing and everything like that. And the guy comes out and he's like, hit delete, and it's like, sometimes they're not very good, but it's like a trio of demons that follow him.
Yeah. And was that the one when I could have this? Oh, I think I have that one mixed up with I can't think of anyway. It's not the one where he loses time, is it? That's a different one. No. That's got Richard Gere in it. What was that one?
Where he loses time?
Where he goes and he he ends up in this town, and
that's the Mothman.
That's good too. Again, here we are, early 2000s horror. There was a lot of really good early 2000s horror for sure.
Yeah, no, but White Noise is creepy. And then of course the ending was a little meh.
Apparently they made a really bad sequel too.
I did not know that.
But yeah, I love it. Michael Keaton's great. Again, I could he can act.
Well, when they pick him up and they start twisting him and turning him and everything, because like these 3 demons are fueling that serial killer that's killing women.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So like, and he's on to them, but just like when he like just watching them twist and break his body, and it's like that is
Another one I really like came out a little bit later, has what's the girl that Charlie likes in A Good Place? Anyway, The Cell? No. Shoot.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not The Cell. Oh my God, such a good film. where people.
It's got Kristen Bell in it.
Kristen Bell, that's what I'm looking for. Early 2000s
and the ghosts travel on the power wires.
Power wires and cell signals and things like that.
Yes.
And
you'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I will. It was good.
They travel on the power wires, and they have to go where there's no service or anything, and they're trying to run away from the demons, and so the cell phone says no service.
They made a sequel to that too, didn't they? But it wasn't that good. And there was an 80s movie with the same name, but let's see, maybe we're lucky and somebody brought it up here for us in the live. Wrong turn. There we go. Let's bring here we go. Haas says the sequel sucked. Yes. So Kristen Bell was in it. She was very young in that.
I think it was one of her first.
I think so too. I want to call it Signal, but it wasn't that either. We'll see if we can find it here. Go back further, Tim, further. Oh man, she's made a lot of films. She's not the greatest actor in the world, but
no, not in the least.
Spartan.
Pulse.
There we go. Pulse. So if you haven't seen Pulse, it's a great film. I loved it. Again, early 2000s cheese. When did it come out? 2001. Oh no, 2006. Sorry, screenplay was written in
Wes Craven.
It is?
I believe it's
Wes Craven, yeah. So here, let's bring this up. If you've never seen it, it's creepy. It hasn't aged very well, but we still go back and watch it sometimes. And so what else we got here? People wanted to know about. Ted, Hostel.
Hostel, yes.
Fucking love Hostel.
Hostel's a great. The first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was what brought about. What did they call that? Torture porn. Remember, everybody said because that was kind of the new fad in horror at the time. Yeah. And oh my god, the whole first Hostel's so good.
Yeah. Well, isn't Hostel falls into a lot of those categories where it's more like it's a horror, but it's more of it's more gory.
Oh yeah, it's 100% gore through and through. Eli Roth wrote and directed it, and he's been known as a horror master for the most part, and it was good. I
think it kind of falls along like with those other movies, like the Siberian.
Yeah, Siberian.
Siberian film. Like it kind of falls into those. Like it's a foreign movie.
Yes.
It's based in a foreign, obscure country where everything is like sketchy as shit, and you're just like, and of course, and it plays on your fears as being a late teen, early 20s, because everybody wants to travel Europe and backpack Europe and stay in hostels.
And that's what everybody
so cheap and everything like that. So it plays on those fears and
it's good.
It is good.
And it's not a very happy film.
No, it's definitely not.
And it's one of those movies that
it has a great ending.
Yes, and it's inspired by a lot of the 70s stuff. So there's the Cannibal Holocaust, all of those 70s kind of gore films. I remember seeing one years ago where they put a lady in a barrel and then they drive spikes in the barrel and then they roll her down a hill. And it stuck with me for years.
I know.
Can't remember what it was, but they were dark and twisted.
Well, it's one of those, like with Hostel, it sticks with me when he's in the chair and he slices the back of his heels, right? And I think it has a couple different endings as well, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. There's a good ending and a okay ending, right?
Yeah, and then of course, the sequel,
wasn't that great.
No, and I think there's a third one too, isn't there?
It could be.
Yeah.
Ted McDonald, he's gone now, but we're going to answer him. Michael Caine movie, The Hand. Have you ever seen that?
Never seen
I have not. I've heard good things about it, and I do like Michael Caine.
Yeah,
he's a very good actor, but
he's getting up there too.
Oh, very, yeah. And if you ever want to see a really good interview, there's I want to say it's just titled Michael Caine on Acting or something, and it's from a long time ago, but it was really good. Oliver Stone. Oh, a comic book artist loses his hand, which in turn takes on a murderous life of its own. Might have to watch that sometime. I do like Michael Caine. So we can't say much about it, Ted. Poor guy, he's gone now.
I've never seen it.
How about this one? Have you seen Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp?
I have seen Ninth Gate. Not a huge fan of that one.
I haven't seen it.
It's
1999. No shit.
Yeah, no, I love Johnny Depp.
Yes,
I love all his movies except for Pirates of the Caribbean, all the sequels.
Yep.
But I found the Ninth Gate was slow.
Yes, it was.
It was very, very slow.
From what I've been told, I haven't seen it. So
I think
I'm agreeing with you, and I haven't seen it.
I believe it's Roman Polanski.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
Let's see. Yeah, shit. Yeah. So they must have filmed it in France then, did they?
Yeah, it's a beautiful movie. Like it's well shot. I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Okay. And Johnny Depp's good. And this was right in the Johnny Depp, I wouldn't say renaissance, but it was when he was doing well. But yeah, maybe we'll have to watch it sometime. I don't know if you want to, but
The Human Centipede.
Oh yeah. Hunter says Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn is a good movie. Yeah.
Is that the pancake movie where the kid?
No.
That's Cabin Fever.
Yeah. Wrong Turn is the one where
it's Eliza Dushku in it?
Yeah, but it's kind of like based loosely on The Hills Have Eyes.
Yes,
same type of mountain people, back hills people, and I don't want to go too like I think they're cannibals.
Yeah, it was funny because there's there's this one, and there was a bunch of films kind of centering around that concept in that time.
Yeah, remember? I believe they are cannibals, and they basically put trap cars and then they kill them off one by one, and then
it's a bit like Deliverance too, isn't it?
And the guy on here, the reason why I watched it is because he was in Ghost Ship.
Oh yeah,
and
that had a great opening scene.
Ghost Ship was so good, and I can't remember which one he did first, if it was Wrong Turn or Ghost Ship, but that's the only he's a good actor. I didn't mind him, but
Hunter wants to know what's wrong with mountain people. These mountain people, you don't want nothing.
Well, we're from Nova Scotia. I can tell you a lot of mountain people that are wrong with them.
If anybody wants to go down a rabbit hole, look up the Goler clan
from Kentville, Nova Scotia.
On the North Mountain, I believe it is, in Nova Scotia. They were quite something. So if you want to know, they were interesting people.
Yeah.
Letty Lou says she forgot about Mothman Prophecies. I like that's Richard Gere.
Yes.
And it's a mind fuck of a movie.
It is, but again, it's a slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a good movie.
And it is from what year? Not 2002. So there was a ton. Again, those early 2000s. Great. Now here's one I got to tell you guys. Have you seen Werewolf in London and Werewolf in Paris?
I want to say they're the remakes.
They could be. I haven't seen them.
The original ones I haven't seen. Remake, I did see Werewolf in London, I believe.
Okay, but not very memorable, I guess.
No,
you liked Ginger Snaps, didn't you?
I did like Ginger
Snaps. As far as werewolf films go, which is funny because they're Canadian, that movie, Yeah.
Yeah, I think Amy likes Ginger Snaps too.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. Human Centipede. Is that the Human Centipede?
Yeah. Well, let's finish up on this one. So,
the Human Centipede.
So there is 3 of them. And hey, Rachel Brown, I will I'll bring that up. Hunter says wife says we watched Ghost Ship. I don't remember it. So it's a fairly forgettable film.
It is,
except the opening scene where the smokestack on the ship falls down, the cable snaps and cuts everyone in half
on the dance floor. And then whoever's left, they hunt them down in the cabins, and it's like a demon. Is it, or like the devil or something? Yeah.
This is for Rachel. I'm just putting up the Goler clan Wikipedia article here. There you go. Thank you, Letty Lou.
Yeah.
She found it for me. Yeah. Very creepy. They were incestuous and they lived on the mountains and whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. Very. And there's a whole book about it too.
Yes.
South Mountain?
South or North? I can't remember.
I think it's South Mountain.
Yeah. Near Wolfville. South Mountain. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. I read the book years ago.
Yeah.
So Human Centipede. If you have not seen it, you don't need to. I promise. I hate to say it, but I kind of like the first one.
The third
fucked up.
The third one is even worse.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. You watched it, right?
Yeah, I watched it because it's one of those. Okay, you know what? I'm bored. I'm going to find something to watch. But it takes place in a prison.
Yeah,
and that's how he punishes the prisoners.
Right.
He has them lined up in a field.
So we don't need to describe it, but just picture a human centipede. Mouth, where.
The second one is even worse.
Yeah, because he's like it's like a meta. It's a meta story where the guy is like obsessed with the movie and he decides to recreate it in real life.
Exactly, and he's like this loner, and he's disgusting, and he's like, and he thinks it's funny. Like he gets them all tied together, and then he goes in and injects each of them with a laxative. So and they're all imagine. It is disgusting. It is a disgusting
some
movie.
To each other hosses. Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
But you don't need to watch it. I'm not telling. I would never recommend watching that film ever to anyone.
There's quite a few I wouldn't recommend watching.
But I'm probably just a little I didn't mind the first one. The second one was horrible.
Well, it was because like you don't know what you're in for.
Yeah, made you sick to your stomach.
Yeah,
right?
and and there's the other, like, I wouldn't recommend watching a Siberian film either.
No, you've watched. I haven't. I
have watched it. I don't recommend watching that one either. It's very disgusting. It's twisting. It's disturbing. If you don't have to watch a movie, don't watch it.
It's just one of those things. It's like, when somebody says don't look or don't think of a purple elephant, and then right, everybody, when I said don't think of a purple elephant, what do you see in your brain?
Well,
right?
I'm not going to be responsible if you happen. No, like if you happen to watch it, don't come back and say, "Hey, you told me to watch this movie."
If you do, you can blame Becky, not me.
Don't watch that movie. Like, honestly, if you really like dark, sick, twisted movies, by all means, watch it.
But it's not. I wouldn't.
But it wasn't my cup of tea.
It is beyond most horror fans' liking, for sure.
Yes. You have to be really, 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 really twisted upstairs to watch it, I think.
Absolutely.
Because it's a twisted movie.
So we're going to wrap it up there, baby. We've been 2 hours and 10 minutes. Haas says, another awesome show, Tim. Great to see Mrs. Toolman in this series. So if you guys like this, we'll probably do it at least once a month where we put together a list of films and we'll talk about it, because why not? Look at this. Look, watch. I can take my hand and I can go, whoop, and then it shows up on the camera. So anybody listening on audio, you completely missed the joke, but it was quite funny. So,
well, no, and that's in movies are our passion.
Oh my God. We just don't make part of the reason is I'm too busy fucking live streaming for us to watch a lot of movies, but maybe it'll be an excuse for us to watch a few films. Well,
that and winter's coming up. Yes. And that's our hobby in the winter.
Ooh, Hunter come up with a good one. Tool Man and Tool Ma'am. I like that. That's good. And Letty says, great finale. Next should be Christmas films. We could do a bunch of Christmas films.
Well, number one is Die Hard. Die Hard is number one Christmas movie.
Yeah, you know what mine is.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
Shh, don't say it. We don't want to.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
We could do Christmas. There's so many we could do. It'd be fun. Yeah, I'd like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
So we could do that. Maybe we could do in November. We could do Christmas serious or Christmas comedies, and then we could do Christmas serious films.
I haven't watched a lot of Christmas movies.
You've seen more than you.
Yeah. I have to go back and.
We just one rule is nothing made by the Hallmark Channel. That's all.
So, I don't watch Hallmark. Those aren't movies.
Yeah, no, they're
soap operas.
Soap operas made by committee and by I don't even know. Yeah, they just have an outline and they're like.
Well, they're for has-been actors who need a job.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Serious Christmas. Yeah. So real, touching, soft-hearted Christmas films, and then
Die Hard.
My favorite, the hilarious Christmas movies. And everybody knows, if you've listened to me for a few months, I'm sure you know what my favorite Christmas comedy is, right? So, all right, guys, that's it from us this evening. This was great. 2 hours, 12 minutes, 8 seconds. So, guys, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.